Good evening, everyone. My name is Virginia Harger,
Good evening.
and I'm the chairperson of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission. Today is Wednesday, February 8th, 2023, and the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission being conducted via Zoom is hereby called to order at 6:03 p.m. The meeting is also being carried live on YouTube. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Before I start off with the roll call of the commission, I'd like to welcome our new alternate commissioner, Mr. Frank Donato. And then Commissioner Donato, you're representing the Democratic Party. And are there any remarks you'd like to share with us? You are on mute.
How about now?
Oh, Charlie, we
can hear you, Charlie.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Does that work now?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you now, Commissioner Donato.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm sideways. Is that the way it's coming up on to everyone else? But
If you're on your phone, you could just turn your phone.
it's not my phone. I'm on my computer. I don't know,
Okay,
should I?
maybe we'll check that out later on.
Rotate.
That's all right. We'll all go like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Donato, what remarks would you like to share with the commission?
I just wanted to say that introduce myself. I'm Frank Donato. I'm a native of New York City, and we moved to Connecticut along with my wife Kathy and I. We raised our 3 daughters in Bayside, Queens. We moved to Connecticut in 2007. We moved to Stratford. 2 oldest daughters moved to Connecticut, and they said if we wanted to see our grandchildren, it would be a good idea if we moved up this way. And we moved to Shelton in 2019 with our oldest daughter, and we now live in a house with 3 generations. It's a great experience. My youngest daughter is going to hopefully be moving to Shelton in a couple of months.
Oh,
And so we'll have 2 of our daughters here, and our second daughter, she lives up in Colebrook.
Oh, okay,
So that's a good feeling to have.
very good.
And I hope to help Shelton grow in an organized way, maintaining an attractive family community and going forward in the 21st century. But I've grown to love this town, the city, and it's a great place to live. So
Very good. Well, maybe you could consider
Thank you.
your family having fell into a tub of butter by moving to Shelton. Okay, so let me do our roll call now that we have all of our commissioners identified. Commissioner Kelly, please just as in the past, verbally indicate that you're present when your name is called. So Commissioner Kelly,
Present.
Commissioner Parkins,
Present.
Commissioner Laskos,
Present.
Commissioner Motto,
Here.
Commissioner Ticky,
Present.
myself, Commissioner Harger, alternate Commissioner Donato,
yeah,
and is alternate Commissioner Onofrio logged in at all, Mr. Rossetti?
No.
Okay, he's not in the waiting room. Okay. And then going on to staff, Mr. Rossetti, our administrator,
Present.
Ms. Castro, our assistant administrator,
Present.
Mr. Panico, our consultant,
Present.
and Ms. Bernasos, our recording secretary.
Present.
Very good. Our first agenda item is an 824 referral from the city of Shelton. Is Ms. Kelly Vazano in the chat room?
She's hopping on. She's running a few minutes late, but I can step in for her.
Okay, so we have an 824 referral that everyone should have received the paperwork for that. And it is for the sale of property at 41 Myrtle Street.
Yep. So right here, for those of you who are familiar, let me slide this out of the way. Okay. if any of you have been down to Department of Public Works, here's Howe Avenue, you make a left, you then come down here off of Grove. DPW, all the plow trucks and et cetera. There are some properties located here, and the city would like to sell this piece of property here to this homeowner. It's roughly just under 5,000 square feet. It is all, I'll just go down to some pictures. It's all ledge. It's about 20 feet higher than the elevation of Department of Public Works. We don't have use for this land. And it's, we just kind of add to the value of their land, and so then we could collect some taxes for it. So here's what the that neighboring property looks like up there.
That would be right past the entrance to the Public Works parking
Correct.
lot.
So the land that we would sell is up here.
Are they
city.
currently using it?
They have been, yep.
Mhm.
So
So this would officially make it part of their lot.
correct, and you will see another one next door coming before you pretty soon as well for an area here. So,
Could you show that aerial view again, please?
sure, yep, let me just get everything reoriented.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to figure this out from what was submitted.
Well, that ledge is, as you go in the driveway, you see that little white rectangle? You would be facing that.
So
The elevation is higher.
it's this area here.
Right. So is that building that's on that, is that part of the purchasers'
Yes,
housing? Like a garage or something?
it's one of those lean-to garage sheds that are prohibited.
Okay,
So he's
Okay.
using it anyhow.
He
Yeah.
was, they were, yep,
okay, so just a portable
correct.
garage, if you will.
Okay, is Ms. Fasano on the,
She
Zoom?
is, so.
Okay.
I'll-
so I'll recognize Ms. Fasano. Are there any particular comments you'd like to share with us? Is she not muted?
Yeah, I'm not now. I had to join as a panelist. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
So no, Alex uncovered everything pretty well. The homeowner was unaware that they were actually using property that was not theirs. It had been in that condition since they bought it about 37 years ago. And
Wow.
it was discovered when they were trying to sell the property. They were under contract with the buyer's due diligence. This was brought to their attention. They came to the city. We went out there, we looked at it. The base due to the grade and the ledge, it was determined that we would never use this property. It would be cost prohibitive to even try, and obviously not necessary for us. So, this is why we're here with the 824 referral.
Do any commissioners have any questions for Ms. Fasano?
No,
Seems
Okay.
pretty straightforward to
I
me.
think so.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's in that neighborhood, that definitely ledge is something that exists.
Prevalent, yeah.
Yeah, down the hill and right behind Lafayette School is the excavation that is it Beard or the other company uses. So, all right, is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion for a favorable referral?
Commissioner
to
Kelly,
the
yes, I
Board of
will.
Aldermen? Okay, so there's a motion from Commissioner Kelly to make a favorable referral for the 824 to the Board of Aldermen. Is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Okay, so on the motion to make for a favorable referral to the Board of Aldermen for this 824, I'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Thank you, Ms. Fasano.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda are 6 applications for a certificate of zoning compliance. I understand from Commissioner Motto that the zoning subcommittee met last week to review them. What's the recommendation, Commissioner Amato, for the first one, Anthony's at 468 River Road?
Well, we didn't have any problem with it. I think it's a horrible sign personally, but I don't know how you can even see what it says, but
The building is not in that much better shape, so
I was thinking of that.
it
Yeah,
needs some serious paint.
Mr. Rossetti, has the applicant been in the office to discuss what he intends to do? He's the new owner of this repair service or whatever it categorizes.
I'll let Alexandria speak to that briefly.
Okay,
Hello, so they are a sales and repairs license through the state.
Mhm.
So he's going to be renovating the interior of the building. He has a bunch of building permits pulled, making it very nice. They're going to update the parking lot. So get some nice upkeep going on over there.
all right, so this is new property owner, he has his own sign. That sign is already up? I'm
Yes.
taking it, okay. Did he understand that he had to come before the commission for approval before doing so?
I guess not at the time. He took
Mhm.
over and the sign went up right away.
Mm,
Owner
Okay.
change. He knows now.
I'm sure he does. So any commissioners have any questions for Mrs. Castro or Mr. Rossetti about this particular application? All right, and this has been a long standing business on River Road. As you can tell, it's turned into an eyesore. I believe it would be important to give the new property owner a chance to clean it up and put his money where his mouth is, that he is going to be renovating and making vast improvements to the appearance of this particular piece of property. So any further comments, questions, or concerns for Ms. Castro? Okay, is any commissioner have any have a motion for this particular application?
I'll make a motion.
Go ahead,
Who's making the motion to approve?
Elaine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Amato, and is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Okay, so on the motion to approve from Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Parkins, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and the Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed 6-0. And I would strongly urge staff to Mr. Rossetti to convey to our zoning enforcement officer that he keep on top of the work that's being done on that particular piece of property to make sure that he stays in conformance with our regulations. Okay, next one, Commissioner Amato, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for the Beauty Collective?
Yeah, that was fine. We didn't have any issues with that.
Okay, any questions for Commissioner Amato? Right, this is a long time beauty salon that has, I think the owner's retired within the last year or so, and so we have a new owner in there, new sign. Sign is very complimentary to the other ones on that section of the strip mall. Is any?
Madam Chair,
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Panico.
I just wanted to make the observation that that is a non-conforming sign. And I don't know if it was authorized or how it got to be on there, but we do not allow roof signs normally.
All of them in Huntington
But this
Center
is
are
one
that
that's
way.
already there. So there are some
No,
pre-existing rights. I
That's
guess.
typical of Huntington Center, though.
I think that a couple years ago when I did a presentation, there
Right.
were different places and different buildings, but this seems to be consistent with that rear building along the back where it's sassafras and a pizza place and
There was a card place there.
yeah, the card shop. There was a doctor's.
Christina's
office.
Cafe, the new cafe.
They're
paint
all on the
store.
roof. Huh?
Yes,
all on
they
the-
are.
Yeah.
They
do.
are.
Because
So,
as you can see, there's not much other
Actually,
place to put it.
Exactly. There's no place to put it other than where it is.
mhm,
Yeah. Room.
but at least it's consistent in that particular location in that
And it
building.
looks neat. It
Yeah.
looks,
It does. So, but thank you for your observation, Mr. Panico. Those are well received for sure and appreciated. All right, so any further comments or questions for Commissioner Amato on this particular sign? Is there a motion on this particular sign from anyone?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Okay, motion to approve Commissioner Kelly. Is there a second?
Commissioner Ticky will second.
Thank you, Commissioner Ticky. So the motion to approve from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Ticky. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Harger votes aye. Motion has passed by a vote of 6-0. Next, the third application is TJ Maxx, and this looks like they're just looking to update their voltage,
Just changing the light bulbs.
just changing light bulbs. Does anybody know, are these going to be so bright that they're going to be maybe a little distracting? I just bring that up because with a lot of the cars, when you drive at night, they have those bright white lights, headlights. So does anybody know, were there any questions about that?
What does it say in the description?
Yeah, I'm looking at the specs, but I'm not familiar with. bright-
It's LED, right? It says neon. I don't know the difference.
No,
between neon.
LED type. Says the third one
Not
down
the two
on
neons.
color and LED specifications.
Yep, it's down at the bottom left corner.
Yeah, it's only 60 watt, I think, right?
Right, it says 60-watt power supply.
Yeah, and the sign is also red, so it's not the white, so it won't
Oh,
glare.
okay, true. That's a good point, Commissioner Kelly. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? And they're also on the next page down, they're doing their pylon sign down by the street.
Is that a new sign or? they
No,
just-
that's been there.
Okay,
It's there, but this is not illuminated, correct? Does not indicate that it's illuminated.
No,
No, it
no,
doesn't.
just,
No, it's never been illuminated, I don't believe.
No, it has not.
So it fits in with the neighborhood. It's not obnoxious.
Yep. Yeah, it's really just replacing what they currently have,
Yeah,
make it look cleaner.
right. Okay, any other further comments for Commissioner Amato? If not, is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion on this application?
Commissioner Ticky will motion for approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second, Commissioner Matt.
Okay, so on the motion to approve Commissioner Ticky, seconded by Commissioner Amato, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
aye,
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 6-0. Commissioner Amato, what's the recommendation of the zoning subcommittee for the fourth application, Riverwalk Place, which is the new building on Howe Avenue, I believe, that to the left of the Shelton Victorian condos? Is that correct?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's- Go ahead.
so it looks very nice, the lettering. Commissioner Parkins had an interesting observation that the 356 might be misinterpreted by people. That's actually 356 Howe Avenue.
Oh, true.
So
Mhm.
I don't know.
so I did contact the applicant and he made the changes. Those are obviously not the right numbers, but he took the recommendations and made the updates.
Good.
Oh.
That's a good move.
That looks
Okay,
really
All right.
good.
It's a very nice looking, the lettering is very nice. It just,
Yes.
it made it look like it was 356 Riverwalk Place. And at first I'm like, where is this place?
Mhm.
Where is Riverwalk Place? And then it
Exactly.
dawned on me that it was actually Howe Avenue. So I just thought it lent a little confusion to the address.
Good
Very
call.
good.
Good, good.
Okay, so the Applicant has removed the numbers 3, 5, 6, and only thing that will be appearing is the 2 words Riverwalk Place. All right,
And-
any other?
But
Yeah,
underneath, they're gonna put the numbers. Right now, they've got 2748, but it'll be 356 or whatever.
Oh, that's
numbers.
right.
Yeah.
So,
See where they're
Yeah,
putting
that's
that
right.
on the brick.
yep, okay. Does anybody think it's necessary that they should put Howe Avenue on there as well, besides the numbers?
If you're on Howe Avenue, you probably know you're on Howe Avenue.
You don't
One-
do it on you don't do it on your own mailbox.
No, well, some people do, but
Yeah.
that's fine. All right, any, if there's no other comments on this, is there a motion on this particular application?
I'll make a motion, we approve it, Commissioner Kelly.
Okay, motion from Commissioner Kelly to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Lascos.
Thank you. So the motion from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Lascos. Do a roll call. Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion has been approved by a vote of 6-0. All right, the next one is Breeze 2 Smoke Shop. This had been before us last month, I believe. And in reading the minutes tonight, there had been a comment from Commissioner Kelly that he had wanted to see I think with the word smoke shop in black. And I don't see that reflected. Let me just pull out the minutes that actually said that. These are in the minutes that are for approval later on in the meeting. 18th. Commissioner Kelly, do you recall making those comments?
No. No.
That's
I-
funny.
I think
I
we had
thought,
asked them to tone it down, which they certainly have. There were stars on it, 3 different
Oh,
colors.
yeah. There were,
All that. I don't recall this band in the back. Especially if they were to change it to black, it becomes kind of hard to read with that. If that's the case, what that rendering shows, that it's red lettering with a black band.
Yeah.
I think that's the bar that holds the letters.
this
letters
is
on
the
it.
channel for the bar, for the
Mountain bar.
lettering, but I think Commissioner Tiki's right. Does make it hard to read.
Yeah, we don't have that with other the signage, like you can begin to see to the sort of the left
You're right.
in a cleaner way. I can't recall there's any other businesses there that have the channel there.
They're all individual letters, yeah.
yeah, this is connected by that channel. All right, I found it. It says on page 2 of the minutes for January 11th, Commissioner Kelly inquired about having the word Breeze 2 in red and the word smoke shop in black. So that's good.
Okay.
But what do you want to do about that?
All one color is fine with me, but I didn't even notice this black stripe. Do you think that's gonna be there? Is that?
Oh, yeah, no, that's there. It's down on the sign on the building itself.
Mhm.
They might be able to tone it down and make it look more like the rest of the building wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
I
more
think-
transparent, I guess.
All right, so well, what does the commission want to do? Leave the colors as is? Change the second row to all black?
I-
Table this, approve it? What do you want to do?
My color is preferable. So I'm fine with the all red. And I think there's another sign nearby, red, the restaurant. So I don't know.
I'd like to find out more about the channel. It might be more cost effective to have this set up, but it's just I would like to know that channel could be removed or made much smaller.
Or Or-
Sign.
building.
The
Everyone,
letters are mounted on.
We have the representative for the applicant online, so he can help answer any questions. His name is Jeff Stern.
okay, good. Have you elevated him to a panelist?
Yes.
I'm here.
Okay, I just want to caution everyone that sometimes words are breaking up. So,
Mhm.
I'm here.
Go ahead, Mr. Stern, if you could identify yourself for the record.
My name is Jeff Stern. I'm representing the Breeze Smoke Shop too.
Right, and what, are you from Alcom?
I'm sorry.
What business is it that you work for? The
I
sign-
work for the broker, and
Oh.
we are representing. We're representing the smoke shop.
Okay,
There I am. Hopefully, see me.
yep, but you're not from the company that designed the sign
I'm not.
itself.
No, I'm not.
Okay,
But they will. If they want channel lettering, we can do channel lettering. It won't be a problem. The sign looks very similar to the sign next door. There's a Vision store that has all red lettering as well.
okay.
So we can make
Do
it.
you happen to have Google Maps up, Google Earth that shows the inside of that?
The Google Earth is old, but it's there.
Okay,
And all the signs on his side of the building are all completely different signs. There are red signs, yellow and blue signs, black signs. To the
yeah, the
right, there
colors
are,
are something that it could be changeable, but it was the style of the.
yeah, this is very toned down. This is very simple,
Mhm.
straightforward. It'll just light up at night.
Right.
Nothing flashy.
Mr. Stern, about 3 or 4 years ago, the shopping center went through a whole reface, and that's when they went and changed the signage for all of their tenants, and that's what we want to be consistent.
Right, but if you keep going to the left of that, you'll see that all the signs are completely different. There isn't one sign in the shopping center that's similar to that's the same as the other. So, I mean, I have video, I have pictures I could submit if you'd like, but they're all completely different. This one will actually look similar to the other signs as far as the style, the lettering, the coloring will be there.
Yeah, as I said, the color is not necessarily the issue, but if, I'm not sure if we're able to pivot.
This is Commissioner Ticky. If we could put that back up, I pulled it up on my phone. It looks like Simonetti Cleaners on Google Maps. It does have a back band, if you will, but it's painted exactly the same color. If you could kind of zoom in on that. So
It's on the bottom though.
on the bottom on Cleaners. So
Yeah.
if something similar could be done where if there's a,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could
That's
make
the
that.
background of the building.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that,
we could make it the same color. We could make it a silver background without a problem.
well, the channel
Okay.
blends in with the cleaners at the bottom of the lettering. This is right in the middle of the lettering.
I think it's just the picture. I think they can make it any color you want.
No. I'm talking about the channel itself, Simonetti Cleaners. You can see the channel on the cleaners, but it's at the bottom where it blends in with all the lettering. Your particular lettering, it's right in the middle. Your channel is right in the middle.
The horizontal bar is on both rows. So if those were to be changed,
I
if
think
that
that's what you're
color
getting
was
at,
to
right,
be
Jimmy?
changed, excuse me, if the color was to be changed of the horizontal bar to the same color as the building itself, would that be acceptable to the commission?
And
Can you bring the sign up again?
Or put it down at the bottom of the letters.
Right. Can, you gonna bring up the sign one more time?
Yes.
Yeah, now if you put
I
the,
just want to ask the commissioners if there's any background noise in your particular.
yeah,
location.
there is.
Could you go on mute?
It's from Jeff.
Yes,
Oh.
I mean, I'm trying to be in a quiet spot, but it got loud.
Okay. All right,
I
so Commissioner
apologize.
Dickey, what did you want to say about this? You had
Well,
asked to get this
If you
back
put
up.
the channel on the bottom, it would be less noticeable instead of right in the middle of the lettering.
Okay.
But
Can I
that's
ask
what the
the-
letters are mounted on.
The applicant said,
So is cleaners too mounted on that.
Well, they're about a third of the way up, Charlie.
No,
It's not really on the bottom.
The applicant indicated that if we wanted channel letters, we could have channel letters. They could do channel letters. Are these not channel letters that are being proposed? I'm a little confused with that.
I
If
think
there's it looks like there's a base to it, but we could do it where each letter is individual.
Well, that would be,
So it'll be channel lettering.
That would be better.
Much
yeah,
better.
that would be better.
you're talking about individual letters.
Yeah, so each letter will be mounted separately to the building. It'll be a channel letter.
Okay. And,
It'll look exactly the same. It just won't have that bar going across it.
okay,
Perfect.
all right. So that would be more consistent with the other kinds of signs on the other storefronts.
Yeah. Be
Okay. All right, and the coloring would stay the same, all red?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so is there anyone that wants to make a motion that for approval with the condition that the letters be channel letters and the color would all be red?
And that it stay approximately the same size as indicated on this drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Will the channel letters be mounted to a horizontal chase or not?
We will try to do them individually. If for some reason it can't be done, we'll come back to the commission.
Okay,
The letters will be mounted individually to the facade. Is
Correct.
that what I heard?
Yes. And if for some reason it can't be done, we'll come back to the zoning board again.
Okay.
all right. Is there anyone that wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept it with the changes.
Okay, there's a motion to approve from Commissioner Kelly with the changes that the channel letters, the color is all red. And if the, at the same size that is being shown now, and if the representative cannot do letters attached directly to the front of the building, then he will return to the commission for another plan. Okay, is that correct, Commissioner Kelly?
That is correct.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Laskos.
Thank you. So on the motion from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Laskos, do a roll call. Commissioner Amato,
I
Commissioner Tiki?
think he had to step out.
Oh, okay, yeah, he didn't mention that he was had to leave the meeting for a little bit. And Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion is passed by a vote of 5-0.
Thank you.
No vote recorded for Commissioner Tiki as he's not in the meeting.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Motto,
Thank you.
next. You're welcome. Next item on the agenda is the in-law addition for David Chomsky, 11 Reed Lane. What was the recommendation of the?
Well, we weren't covering that item, were
Are you
we?
doing at all? Okay, very
No.
good. All right, Mr. Rossetti, do you have any comments for us on this one?
Chair Harger, just for point of administration, do you want to appoint Commissioner Donato to sit in for Commissioner Tiki?
The thing is, the Commissioner Tiki indicated to me he'd be gone for 10 minutes and I certainly be happy to.
Okay, I
just
thought he
wanted-
left.
Yeah, no, he didn't leave for the whole meeting.
Okay,
Uh,
excuse me. Sorry.
That's okay. Don't mind it at all. Okay, Mr. Rossetti, do you have some information for us?
Lost my sound. Can anybody hear me?
Oh, yeah.
We hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't hear Alex, I guess. If he's-
Yeah.
Alex is
Yeah,
trying to get
there's-
it on a photo.
Yeah, he's not talking.
Oh, okay.
He'll be with us shortly, I'm sure. Okay, 11 Reed Lane, here we go. Mr. Rossetti, make sure you unmute yourself.
That would help, right?
There you go. All right.
So
Yeah,
it's,
here's the floor.
it's way in the back behind these structures.
On an
Unfortunately,
interior
it's-
lot?
Yes. I was able to view it from one angle. Let me see. Okay. We can see the garage apron here.
Mm-hmm.
The driveway apron, the garage is right here. And they would like to retrofit this second floor space to accommodate an in-law. And they will have the stairs coming out the side here. There's an egress and ingress inside.
Mm-hmm.
It complies with our square footage requirements.
Alice, can you explain that interior connection? I see the stairway going down to the garage level, but does it go into the living space or just to the garage?
It does go into a mudroom.
Sorry, what was that?
It goes into a mudroom. It does not connect to the garage. I
Okay.
clarified that.
Okay, so that's the connection to the downstairs living space.
Correct. This is a foyer of sorts. The garage space is really in the front area, and then you step
Okay.
up underneath.
Okay.
So we have no issues with it. It's already existing. They're not changing anything on the exterior except for another egress out the side here. Back, I should say, at the back, which will be.
Oh,
What
back
do you
here.
mean it's already existing?
They're just renovating the interior space. They're
the
not.
area,
It's existing space. They're changing the use of it.
So it's like a loft right now.
Yes, so they're just gonna build, a little deck here and have the stairs come
Mhm.
down.
right.
That's it. That's the only change anyone would notice.
And that's on the back side of the building, right?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, any further comments, questions or concerns for Mr. Rossetti?
No.
Okay. Go ahead.
Make it an affordable unit while they're at it.
It's
So-
been restricted for 40 years.
That discussion comes later.
Yeah.
I did actually have a brief discussion with the gentleman and broached the subject to him. I said,
Yeah.
look, and just because it would be deed restricted does not mean that you have to rent it at that rate. And he said, look, I would have no problem with that. He said, if I don't have to do it, I'm not going to, but I would have no problem with it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when the relative dies, you can continue to rent it, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Actually, they are moving in and the kids are moving into the house.
Oh,
Oh, they're shifting over. Okay.
They're shifting over.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Keep it in the family.
yeah.
All right. So any further comments, questions or concerns?
It would have been nice if that outside stairway were enclosed, but
It's a porch. That's like a porch, though. They have a little patio up on top.
Mhm. Outside deck going.
yeah.
Yeah.
going down. Well, all right. Is there a motion for this particular application?
I'll make a motion to approve it as is.
Okay,
Commissioner
so
Kelly.
there's a motion from Commissioner Kelly to approve as submitted. Is there a second?
I'll second Commissioner Matto.
Second from Commissioner Amato. So on the motion to approve Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Amato, we'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki, is he back? No, okay. Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion is passed 5-0. Okay. All right, moving along. Next on the agenda is new business. And let me just check to see the status of Commissioner Tiki. All right, for this next session of the new business, Commissioner Donato, I'm going to seat you in place of Commissioner Tiki. Okay, would you please
Okay.
acknowledge that you are aware of that?
Okay,
very good. Okay, so, and our secretary would make a note that Commissioner Donato was seated for Commissioner Ticky at the beginning of new business.
Okay,
So first application 2301 Forest Parkway, RD Cinto Inc. at 11 and 15 Forest Parkway, Assessors Map 63, Lot 35 for a site plan application on 24.66 acres for a 43,000 square foot one-story addition to an existing industrial building and required parking. Is there a motion to accept for review?
Make a motion to accept, Commissioner Kelly.
Okay, and is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Okay, so in the motion to accept for review by Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Parkins, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Donato.
Aye.
Okay, and the chair votes aye. Motion is passed 6-0. All right, staff, what information do you have for us? I did not go into, we'll do a review. We do not need to set a public hearing, and I'll let staff explain that.
This is a modification of an existing site plan approval at Forest Parkway. It's for a warehouse light industrial expansion for Lex and Buckley Corp. It was already approved by the Wetlands Commission. There is some regulated activities in the area, but the applicant has demonstrated they can remediate that. We have no outstanding concerns. It's far tucked back from the road. They're just touching the southern edge of the property. They've clarified with us that the space will add about 10 employees. There might be a few additional trucks and vans, but it's for light industrial use. And I'm sure Pat Rose is ready and able to walk you through their application.
Okay, would the commission like for us to continue, or should this be on the agenda of an upcoming meeting?
I think we should continue. It sounds like it's going to, in the setbacks. I don't know if there are any at all.
Okay.
I have, Commissioner Harger, I have a question. It's not on our website, am I correct?
No, and I was just going to ask Mr. Rose to make sure that he shows us all the visuals that we would have.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Rose.
Yeah, I noticed this Pat Rose from Rose Tiso and Company. I did notice that it wasn't on the website. I'll share my screen of the colored site plan that I have. At least I can explain it from that.
Had anything been submitted?
Oh, sorry?
Yes, it's all online. It's
Go.
All right.
What's online?
This particular, the materials for this application will put
It's not
online.
online. I checked it.
It's on the. It was uploaded to the Google Drive. It was. So we're in that in between. We're
Had that great system that we.
what?
No, it's not.
All right, Mr. Rose, you have the.
I couldn't find
floor.
it.
Me neither.
Okay. So what we have is 11 and 15 Forest Parkway. This is the existing building, which is about 64,000 square feet here. And there's another building, 15 Forest Parkway, which is to the north of that, which is about 40,000 square feet. Forest Parkway is way out to the left-hand side of your screen. And this is the wetlands, large wetlands. There's 10 acres of wetlands on this site. And what we're doing is putting an addition of 43,000 square feet here on the end of this building, creating 5 loading dock spaces, and then some parking out in front of an entrance with a ramp and a stair that goes up into the warehouse space, and then some additional parking on this upland space that sits between our existing parking lot and roadway network and the larger wetland. So what we're doing is wetlands wise, what we got approved was this wetlands that's out back in here, which backs up to some other property. At one time, it looks like it was a farm. They tried to drain some farmland and created some trenches and canals, and we're cleaning that all up because it's very undulating, the topography in here. It's a bit of a mess. So we're creating this wetlands and then connecting this portion of it to that wetlands so it can drain eventually out to the larger wetlands.
Hmm.
And then we're enhancing the plantings in that wetlands on the edge of the building and behind the building.
So this is all
To get a real
information that was
grasp of
presented.
what you're. of
I'm
what
sorry?
We need to see an overall site plan. How does it sit in relation to the road?
All right. Alex, I don't have those on my computer right now. Can you put up the site plan that we have possibly?
What I was saying was all this material that you just went over, Mr. Rose, was presented to inland wetlands.
Correct.
That's what they based their approval on.
That's correct.
Okay.
What was there before the addition? Was just parking?
No, it's a grassed area, the flat
Okay.
grassed area. I went back, this dates back to my Casper days back in the 80s. And this actually was an expansion that was proposed when the subdivision was done a long time ago. So
The existing building
the
tenant.
existing,
is
this
going to
existing,
be-
the existing tenant is Lex that's in this existing building.
Right.
And the 43,000 square feet looks like it will end up being all Lex. So it's just an expansion of their warehouse space.
Okay.
Yeah.
We thought there was going to be another tenant, possibly Buckley fans, but they have backed out. So it's going to be all Lex. So these are the two buildings. This is Forest Parkway out here. You see on the left-hand side.
Mhm.
And then you come in this driveway to an existing warehouse and office building, and then the Lex building here, which is the 60,000 square foot warehouse. And we're on the side of that, just below that building.
So the driveway shares between the two buildings, basically.
Correct. That's correct. And on this diagonal spur here between the wetlands and our driveway parking area will be additional parking.
Mhm. Off to the side.
Yeah, off to the side.
Is there no other way to get in this to the developable area other than that one driveway, huh?
That's correct. And this wetlands is, significant. You would never be able to get around it because it basically takes up this whole front of the lot.
Yeah, it goes on forever.
Yeah.
Is there going to be any additional screening required for the backyards of the people who are on Long Hill Avenue?
There are significant mature trees that are there already in that buffer that exists behind the existing building, and it continues behind where the addition is. This building was built back in the 80s, and there's significant trees right now.
Okay. So that wouldn't be required. Any additional? Okay.
Does Mr. Cinto own the property to the north also? Or
This
is it-
property here? No, he owns this whole property he owns. I don't believe he owns this property to the north.
All right, any other further
Is
questions
this a
for Mr.
PDD?
Rose?
I'm sorry?
Is this a PDD?
No, it's in the LIP zone.
It's a site plan review.
Could you put the original, the drawing back up, the proposed? Looks like you're adding a lot of parking.
Not really.
No, because
Yeah,
they're
there you
taking.
go.
Just that one
That's
stud.
One more. There. So this parking is being added.
Where? Okay,
We got the location. That's like 60 some odd cars.
so that whole big, long strip of parking is currently there?
No, that's new.
This parking is here, and that's in front of where the addition is going and where the loading docks are going. So there's some parking that's being taken away. So we're making up for that parking and then putting parking in for the addition.
Where's the new parking?
Over
The
to
new
the
That
left,
long
right?
strip on the left.
Diagonal piece. This diagonal
That's what-
piece is the new parking.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So how
Oh,
many
we're putting-
parking spaces are being added?
We're adding probably about 45 spaces altogether.
There's 63 in that long strip, 35 and 33 in one lane, 30 in another. That
Right.
little one where the D is, there's
6.
6. And I can't read what's on
10.
10.
Right. And then
Yeah.
we're taking away parking. You can see the very light lines there. Those are the existing parking spaces. So you're removing a bunch of spaces there.
Okay.
What's
you're
the
gonna have an
net
increase.
In parking.
You have an increase in the number of parking spaces, yes.
By
What's-
exactly how many?
What's the net increase?
The net increase is about 40.
40?
40.
Less than 1 per 1,000 square feet, huh?
I counted out, but it's 43. I believe it's 43. We're doing 1 per 1,000
Did
for the
they-
increase.
Employee,
Elaine, you
What's
better repeat that. You broke
You-
up.
did you say you were adding 10 employees?
That's what they anticipated, adding 10 employees, correct?
So why do
four-
they need 43 spaces?
Because we need to be able to have it for future, if someday leave, somebody else comes in, we need to have the spaces. It's gonna.
Oh, based on the size. So you're adding spaces
Yeah.
based on the
Right.
size of the
Yeah,
expansion.
size of the
Wouldn't
building.
want to have any less than
Would
that.
be, short-sighted not to.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. Could
You'd have to do
could
it
we
now.
do, as we've done before, where the spaces are not
Yeah.
paved yet, but just with the
Hold them in reserve.
blocks? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possibility, certainly. I mean, that you could grade out that larger parking lot and hold a portion of it, not pave it.
Mhm.
What is the relationship of this space to the existing facility? Is it going to be a related tenant or is it totally independent?
It's going to be, Tony, it's going to be the same tenant, Lex Products. They make an electrical equipment and cabling.
Okay,
It's going to be using both buildings. That's all storage in there.
so
and-
this
and
is going to
warehouse.
be warehousing?
Correct.
Okay.
They're on Progress Drive as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where their design and some of the manufacturing things are in offices. on
Yep.
Progress Drive.
Mhm. All
So
right.
will the plantings be overseen by the Wetlands Commission? Since you
Yes.
plant for wetlands, so they'll designate and they would have oversight over that?
Yeah, as part of that drawing I showed you before, there's a planting list associated with that.
Yeah, well, I'm working on my little tiny phone here, so
Okay.
my big pretty computer froze when I tried to use the
Got it.
Zoom.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right,
But you've got scarlet oak, red oak, Moser maple, tupelo, American sycamore, swamp white oak, pin oak, and Princeton American elm. Going in along the wetlands.
An elm, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, any further comments for Mr. Rose?
So you said Lex is there currently?
Mhm.
That's correct. They're in the
Just-
60,000 square foot warehouse that abuts this building.
And this is, what was the,
Where did they do their production? If there's another 50,000 square feet of warehouse there.
They do some of their production on the Progress Drive. A lot of that is design, research and development and offices. I think they do a lot of their other assembly somewhere else.
So at this location, it's primarily warehousing,
Correct. That's correct.
existing and proposed.
Existing and proposed, yes.
All right.
okay. All right,
Any
that's-
other comments? No more.
No, I was a little confused. I was thinking this was off of Constitution Boulevard.
Oh,
I
no.
am familiar with their existing space on Forest Parkway, but I thought this was being proposed on Constitution, so I was a little confused. So no, I have no further questions.
Mhm. All right, if there aren't any further comments, questions, or concerns for the applicant's representative, is there a motion in this particular application?
Are we approving it? Is that
Yeah.
what we're, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve from Commissioner Motto,
Commissioner Kelly, I'll second that.
Okay, second on the approval for Commissioner Kelly. And on the roll call vote, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner D'Amato.
Commissioner Tickey's back in.
No, I know,
Tickey's
but
back.
he's not seated.
Okay,
You
okay,
can't do
yeah,
it in the split.
yes.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Amato,
Second time, I think.
okay.
right? Oh,
And Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion to approve is passed by vote of 6-0. Okay, now that Commissioner Tiki is back, he is going to be reseated. Thank you, Commissioner D'Amato, for filling in while he was away from the meeting. So the next is application 2302 Long Hill Crossroads, S&G of Shelton LLC at 96 Long Hill Crossroad for a minor modification to PDD number 96 to remove 2 buildings containing units 21, 22, 23, and 24 in the second phase of the project due to site work and topographical challenges. Is there a motion to accept for review?
Make a motion to accept for review.
Okay, motion.
Commissioner
from Commissioner Kelly, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So on the motion to accept for review from Commissioner Kelly, seconded by Commissioner Motto. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. All right, Mr. Rossetti, would you want to tell us about this?
This is a minor modification to an existing PDD. I'm sure most of you are familiar with. The project is
Crossroads.
correct, is over halfway through. It was approved for a senior living complex. Due to some topographical challenges on site, the applicant is coming back before you to reduce the amount of units and kind of center the road on a more suitable area. We don't have any issues with it. The parking still works for us. The unit count is fine. But I will let the engineer and applicant take it from there.
Okay, so Mr. Perry is here with us, Mr. Swift, who has some kind of site plan or some kind of engineering document that we can look at.
Yeah, Alex, if you could just put up the site plan.
Yep.
Then I can go through it fairly quickly.
Okay, Mr. Swift, identify yourself for the record.
Yep, my name is Jim Swift, professional engineer, landscape architect. Yep, one more drawing before that. One more drawing before that. There we go. So previously, we had 4 units that were in the area between units 20 and 21. You can see that's a sort of an open blank space right now. We had some challenges with those for retaining walls and such. And we elected, after doing some value engineering, to just remove them, take them out completely. We did relocate units 19 and 20 to be at 90 degrees to the main road as it comes in. That worked very well for our grading plan. And then as you look towards below and to the right of that, you'll see we've put in right in front of unit 20, we've got 2 parking spaces to full visitor spaces, if you will. Just below that, we do have the turnaround for the fire
Emergency vehicles.
departments. I'm sorry?
Emergency vehicles.
Yep, emergency vehicles and the fire department's appropriate truck that we used for the last time. Instead of more of a Y configuration, it's more like a T, but it's still only just a 3-point turn for the fire truck. It'll pull in, you can see that dimension there of 30 feet, and the width is given, so the truck will be able to pull in, then reverse back out towards unit 19. And then exit the site. So it's the same system of a turnaround as the previous approval.
All right,
Uh,
could you, Mr. Swift, before you go any further, could you just ask a question? These
Mhm.
show where 21, 22, 23, and 24 are. So is this what's on the screen, what was approved?
No, what's on the screen here is our proposed modification.
All right, but the modification would mean that 21, 22, 23, and 24 would be eliminated.
Yeah.
Yes, but what we did was we renumbered the units.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
anybody
So if
have
you-
an existing approved plan?
Yes, I can pull it up in 2 seconds. Give me one moment.
It's probably easier.
Make it a lot easier to
Yep,
understand.
yep.
Right.
Hang on.
So this would be the layout if the modification was approved.
Correct.
That's correct. And
Okay.
you'll see that the unit count only goes up to 26, no longer to 30.
Okay.
And while Alex is pulling up the old plan, you'll see that we've taken the opportunity to add some more visitor spaces in there, those 4 visitor spaces. And just as a design point, between those 4 visitor spaces, because I know this question is like, okay, let's go back to the old approval. So you can see units 21, 22, 23, and 24 were hard up against the rear property line,
Mhm.
and the retaining walls was giving us a lot of trouble. And even the retaining walls behind units 20 and 19, those retaining walls were giving us a lot of trouble. And that's why we took 19 and 20, spun them
Mhm.
so that they were more in line with the end of the roadway,
Mhm.
and loosened everything up basically on that side of the road. We did end up pushing the road a little bit further into the site, a little bit further to the right, not much, just a little bit. And you'll see that the units that form a little driveway unto themselves, lots 27, 28, 29, and 30. What we were able to do on the new plan is loosen those up a little bit, get some more dedicated visitor spaces in there. We were able to push units 21 and 20 up the screen a little bit. So we had a chance to loosen things up quite a bit in that area by eliminating units 24, 23, 22, and 21.
Mhm. Any questions for Mr. Swift or Mr. Perry? Okay, as in the previous application, this is the minor modification is only a site plan approval. Is that correct, Mr. Rossetti?
Yes, it can be.
Okay, so if the commission feels that they need to have a public hearing on this, we can certainly take a motion to set a public hearing. If the commission feels that the reduction of 4 units in 2 buildings is you don't need to go that route because we're reducing, not adding, we can act on this tonight. What's the commission's preference?
I would just act on it tonight.
Okay.
I would agree.
Commissioner
I would
Kelly.
agree. I would agree. If he was adding, I would say no, but taking away, it's a no-brainer. Are they deed restricted?
No,
No, they're not deed restricted?
No.
they're just the age restricted. That's the restrictions.
We do get credits for age restricted housing, by the way.
Yeah, you
Okay,
do.
We get a 1/4 point per unit.
There you go.
All right, well, it's something.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so is there a commissioner that, unless there's some other questions, there is a commissioner that would like to make a motion?
I'll
Commissioner
make a
Kelly-
motion.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Commissioner Parkins will make a motion to approve.
And
the
I'll
site
second
plan.
it.
All right,
Commissioner Kelly.
so on the motion to approve made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly. I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Ticky,
Aye.
Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion to approve has been passed by a vote of 6-0. Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.
The next thing on the agenda is old business and discussion of application 2217, Dominic Thomas for Langakis Landing LLC at 1055 Bridgeport Avenue, Assessors Map 2, Lot 8 on 1.7 acres for initial development plan approval for 62 apartments with 77 initial on-site parking spaces and 16 deferred and installed as needed. Public hearing for this application closed on January 18th, 2023. And as presented at the continuation on that date, the applicant made changes to the site plans, including a reduction in the unit count from 62 to 52, a reduction in the building's footprint, a reduction in the building's height, changes to the setbacks from both Bridgeport Avenue and Huntington Street, an increase inside for common space, additional recreational space, and 10% of the units would be designated as affordable housing. What comments do the commissioners have about this particular proposal? And how would you like to proceed with this?
I think it's a nicer fit for that spot. I think the neighbors really appreciated that change, and making it smaller is fantastic. Better setbacks, better landscaping, all around, I think, improved over the initial presentation.
Okay. Anybody else?
Commissioner Kelly, I watched the YouTube on it because I was down in North Carolina at the time and could not be a part of the panel that night. I have to agree with Commissioner Parkins on the garbage chute. I don't know if they could change it to one end or the other end. I really can't see where it is for a number of reasons. Number one, it's by apartments, and normally when you have a garbage chute, either it's by a stairwell or it's off to one side of the building,
Or a
it
freight
has
elevator.
it- yeah, or by the elevator. Yeah, I mean that's and you're going by the front of the building. I believe that was the front side. And all right, you have a garage door opener for the thing, but you're going to smell it. I mean, I'm sorry, it's just garbage is garbage. So I don't know if they could change it to one end or the other end of the building and incorporate it on the side of a stairwell and do it that way. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, anybody else? Commissioner Tiki, Commissioner Laskos?
Commissioner Laskos, I was fine as presented. I think it has merit with access to public transportation, so it sounded like a good proposal.
Okay. And just want to point out that when it came time for public comment, the minutes show only one person spoke from the public that was opposed, and one person who was an abutter spoke in favor of it, preferring this particular kind of proposal over what had been previously proposed, part of it being a gas station. So when I look at the application overall myself, I think the applicant has strived to accommodate any concerns that we have. I appreciate the fact that he reduced the building residential units, the count, and that led to a smaller footprint and a lower building height overall.
This is Commissioner Dickey.
Go ahead.
Yep. I like, if the development is going to go there, I do like that it's connected to the public transit, and we spent a lot of time in this commission dealing with public transit, connection to sidewalks. So I do like that inclusion, and I don't think I would have otherwise been wild about it or that thrilled, but the reduction of units and that the neighbors spoke very positively about it, and that they were clear that they would much rather a development like this than what was previously proposed with the gas station. So hearing from the abutters and the neighbors was important.
Okay. All right. So what's the consensus of the commission? Do we direct staff to prepare a favorable resolution or not?
Yeah, I think, they could include that comment to take another look at the garbage chute within that. But
Okay.
it sounds like we're all pretty much on the same page.
Mhm.
Well, I'm going to throw my viewpoint out here rather than when we go for a vote on any resolution, but I'm going to stand my ground with this is a PDD. I do agree that this is a much better project. I certainly appreciated the sentiments of the next door neighbor who's going to be the most impacted. So for that, I do think it's a good project. But I think what we are, because we're in this moratorium, and I understand they got it in, but it doesn't mean we have to approve. It is a PDD. So again, I'm going to state my feeling that I would prefer to deny without prejudice and then have them come back once we have our new affordable housing, because I think we're going to also miss an opportunity to have increased count added to these. One of the reasons that developers are so keen on building in Shelton is because of our taxes. So these affordable housing units, even though they may be renting out some at a lower, they are still making out on the tax base, from building in other places. So there's still certainly an incentive for them to come back. And again, as I proposed before, to deny without prejudice and then have them come back once we've figured out what it is we're doing in town overall, except for downtown, and then not have them come back and pay fees and go through the whole thing, but then to just reevaluate all the projects we have on the table. So
Okay.
and
Thank
I'm
you. Commissioner
gonna
Perkins.
hold that position.
Mhm. Okay, anybody else? All right, well, if I go around to the commission, just let me know if you want to go forward with a straight out approval or with deny without prejudice. So Commissioner Kelly?
With that statement, I would think that I'm going to deny without prejudice.
Okay, Commissioner Parkins, we have your indication. So Commissioner I'm sorry, Commissioner Laskos?
I was still thinking about approving.
Okay. Commissioner Motto?
Same. I think I'd go for going ahead. I appreciate that sentiment, but
Okay, Commissioner Dickey?
Deny without prejudice.
Okay, and the chair would go for approval. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 3. We have a split on this. So perhaps the best thing to do is to put this up on an upcoming agenda.
here,
Well, you know what? Because we don't have a motion,
yeah,
so.
right. So how long is this moratorium? Where are we within that moratorium? Or where are we within the point of having some position?
We're coming close to the end of the moratorium, aren't we?
I would think so, yeah. In March, isn't it?
In March.
We're talking about the high density residential development. That particular subcommittee was appointed June 1st.
The apartments,
Yeah.
is that how they phrased it? High density? I thought it was just a moratorium on apartments.
Now I have it down here as high density residential development was appointed June 1st, and that was Commissioners Motto, Kelly, and Parkins.
Well, but I think, Ruth, you're talking about whether we would be asking for a different number of
I think a different ratio, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
units differently.
Isn't that something that could be worked?
Well, it's all tied in, right? Because we still have the sewer issue, right? Where I assume this is Shelton sewers, right? So we still have the sewer issue as the sewer commission claims that they can't approve anything until we approve it. And once we approve it, they claim they have to approve it because we've approved it. So it's kind of a conundrum in that sense.
On that particular point, I can certainly ask Corporation Counsel to speak to that. We had a conversation recently, and I'd like to have him confirm about a recent court case that was decided in the fall, and it had to do with commissions in such as the Inland Wetlands and the Planning and Zoning Commission cannot do a contingent on the other commission approving it.
But if they don't get the sewer approval, if they don't have capacity, I think what I'm hearing is that if they have capacity, they have to approve it. But if they don't, it won't go forward.
When an applicant goes to the sewer department at that time, and at that moment in time, if they have capacity, they will tell them, yeah, we have capacity.
Yeah.
However, when it gets, by the time it gets to shoveling the ground and everything, things might have changed. So that's the difficulty that we have.
Okay, and that's only one issue though. So the affordable housing is the other, right? Again, you know, we've got quite a few apartments scheduled for approval or in the process of it. We're going to miss an opportunity to get additional units if we just start approving them without having our plan in place. So I know we're going to talk about this plan, the affordable housing plan, at this meeting, I assume, or at some point in time. So again, I think 10% is very low for what these.
If we went forward with a request for 15% or 20, would that? I think your point about the low taxes and the profitability still being great is a very good one. So I don't know, would you want to go ahead and ask for more?
Well, we've already closed the public hearing, so we can't, we wouldn't be able to do that.
But before you stipulate it, you should have the backup of the affordable housing report, which you're going to consider.
I agree.
3 more minutes.
Right. And the moratorium, according to our reporting, expires March 31st. So
That's what I thought.
I just, you know, again, it's a PDD, we don't have to approve it. And again, I'm not saying I'm not in favor of the project. I do think it's an improvement. I appreciate the neighbors and the fact that, you know, nobody came out to speak against it. I get all that, but you know, it's just one of many that we're going to be.
Like you say, we're going to miss that window of opportunity.
Right.
Mr. Panico, can the percentage for affordable housing be something that's worked into the resolution
Sure.
with an increase?
You can stipulate it, but I think Alex and I have to get together with a little discussion about how it would fold into the pending affordable housing report that's being prepared.
Could it be approved with the contingency of the adoption of our affordable housing plan?
In what respect?
We don't know what that's going to be.
The affordable housing plan doesn't specifically, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but it doesn't specifically indicate what should be required. I think that's a judgment call on the part of the commission. But I think what we need to do is look at it from that point of view and see what our latitude is.
I thought there were particular.
So did I. That's what I'm looking at now.
But it's a plan, right? It's not regulation. That's the difference.
it's
It's
a
sort of
plan,
like our
right.
plan of conservation and development, right? It's a guideline, but it's not a plan or a regulation. I mean, it's not a regulation.
Not a regulation. at all.
May I make a suggestion?
Please.
If the commission wants, we can go ahead and prepare a resolution, ostensibly starting out with a favorable resolution, but at least get something on paper that we can then work with the commission and pour over and see how we want to massage it and adjust it to either support a favorable report or support a denial.
Mhm.
I think if we could just go to ask for 15%.
Well, that could be a condition of approval, right? And they can either deny it or refuse it or accept it, right? I mean, we can make that
exactly.
condition.
But as of right now, today, I think I would like to have some reinforcement for making that decision.
Right.
And the reinforcement comes in the form of the affordable housing plan, which has not yet been adopted.
Right.
So
But
If
once
we,
it is
if we
adopted,
buy some time, if we buy some time by starting to develop a favorable resolution, hopefully the affordable housing can be given status before you take your action.
Yeah, basically, we have 2 months, right?
so about that, but if we have a regulation that is developed after the affordable housing plan, and that we amend our regulations to say minimum following the chart that's in the affordable housing plan, then is that your backup, Mr.?
What I would do, I would probably, in the language of the resolution, mention that the affordable housing plan is under consideration and it would require A, B, and C,
Okay,
something to
This
that
is-
effect.
This is a
But it
PDD.
seems like that your major point of contention here is really the affordable housing. I suspect that more commissioners that are opposed would be supportive if there were more affordable housing.
mhm.
Tony,
That's what I'm
It's a
hearing
missed
from the
opportunity.
we don't need a plan to say that we want more affordable housing, I don't believe. We could have done that all along, with all of these projects that we've only asked that. We could have asked for
Well,
15.
you could use that in an indirect way. And
I think
guess
our
the indirect way
plan,
would be denial for lack of an adequate amount of affordable housing. Because it's been offered at 10%.
I think our plan also will have a gradual, like if it's 40 units, we're asking for 15. If it's over 41 to 60 or something, it's 20, and
Yeah.
whatever numbers we come
There's
up with.
something
but-
outlined in the plan. I
Right.
don't, I read it through once, but I don't recall it.
Yeah, but we haven't
But I
agreed
remember
on
the
it, so
discussion.
No, we haven't agreed on it. You're right.
I just don't want to miss an opportunity to get more affordable housing, that's all. And each apartment complex that we approve, we're missing that opportunity.
It sounds to me that your best route today would be to table it. And if you wish to authorize me to start putting together a resolution of some sort, I will, or we can just hold off on everything till we get a better handle on the affordable housing.
All right, so is that something that the commission would like to pursue instead? We table this, a decision on this until the affordable housing plan has been approved and any required regulations changed
What's our timing, though? Legal requirement on timing?
for the
Well-
affordable housing plan?
No,
It does not
approval.
happen. It will not happen automatically. So that although we have a time limits by direction, they do not result in an automatic approval of any sort. What it does result in is the applicant could go in and get a mandamus from court ordering you to make a decision. So we're protected.
If we don't approve, they could demand what we make it, how many affordable housing we,
No, they could
They can
demand it to
demand
make
an
a
action
decision.
by,
if we
yeah.
don't take
So,
action, they
at
can
that
get a
time-
mandamus.
Okay.
Your decision could be simply, okay, it's denied.
so
It's not advantageous to the applicant to pursue that.
Mhm.
and it would take them a few months to do that anyhow, so,
But it would be non-productive,
yeah, it would be, you're right.
you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just adding a little, giving us a little bit more time, that's all.
I would not suggest that if it weren't for the fact that the adoption of an affordable housing plan is imminent. You have a completed document and everybody's going through their final reviews and actions. So it's not like we're waiting for something to happen.
Right.
All right, so should we then pursue a motion to table this particular application?
Yes, I would make a motion to table this application.
Okay, and Mr. Panico, is there any particular language we have to include in that motion?
Is there any what?
Particular language that we need to?
No,
include?
the minutes of your meeting are going to reflect the discussion of the affordable housing concerns. And
Mhm.
therefore, on the basis of that, you want more time to conclude your review.
Okay. All right, so using Mr. Panico's comments just now, there's a motion, Commissioner Dickey, would you agree that that's part of your motion?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right, so there's motion on the table made by Commissioner Dickey. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Commissioner Kelly.
Okay, so on the motion to table, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion is to table is passed by vote of 6-0. All right, so next on the agenda under old business is continuation of application 2214 S&G of Shelton LLC at 301 Old Bridgeport Avenue. Assessors map 91, lot 17 on 1.91 acres in a RBD zone for a PDD and initial development plan approval for 43 apartments with on-site parking. Public hearing for this application closed January 18th. And as presented at the continuation on that date, the unit count was reduced from 43 to 37 units. A
That's
few
what I thought.
parking spaces were removed. Additional green space was added at the front entrance, and 4 units would be designated as affordable housing. Mr. Rossetti, Mr. Panico had requested a rendering of the garage area at our January 18th meeting. Has that been received from the applicant?
You know what? Let me check. I don't believe so. Sorry, I don't think they caught that.
Well, I believe we closed the hearing, right?
Right,
Yes,
but
you
that was
did.
something that could have been submitted to staff.
So the staff could look at it, but
Right.
we can't really share it with the commission.
No. Okay, so staff will look into that. All right, so what comments do the commissioners have about this particular proposal? Nobody wants to say anything?
We got the same discussion we just had. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, we need to discuss this. So. Are we gonna go straight for approval for a resolution?
I don't think we can start picking and choosing.
Well, I do,
I
yeah,
don't think so either.
we do need to be consistent. I mean,
Mhm.
anyone that's been following our meetings knows that we move at a good clip. We're thorough to make these decisions within the same 9 to 12 month period. With the action the state took, we've had to develop an affordable housing plan, which is great. And we're going to hear about it within moments, and we need to have an affordable housing plan, and we need more affordable housing. We need more diverse housing stock. And it also came at the same time where we enforced a moratorium on high density in much of the town. So we're really trying to do as best we can for residents while we approve this affordable housing plan, and then come around to all these applications that came through just before that moratorium was put into place. And it's mid-February, and the moratorium ends March 31st.
Mhm.
That's how I see it.
And you're right, we have to be consistent on what we do.
Yes.
Okay, any other comments?
Few months is not going to make or break.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, so is there, seeing that there's seems to be a consensus to copy what we just did with previous application, is there a commissioner that would make a motion to table?
Make the motion.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead,
there's a motion to table from Commissioner Motto?
Yeah.
Okay, and is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Thank you. All right, so on the motion to table application 2214, I'll do a roll call vote. And the Commissioner Motto, are you in agreement that the motion would contain wording to the effect of, as we did in the previous motion, due to the affordable housing plan that we're going to be considering, and we would like to include any
We'd like consistent with our affordable housing plan.
Right, that's it. Perfect. Okay, so on a roll call, Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
I'm
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Motion to pass, to table has passed by vote of 6-0. All right, next is the public portion. If there's anyone from the public that would like to comment on an item not on the agenda, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9 on your phone.
There is someone who will recognize her name came up as Amanda.
Okay. If there's anybody else in the meantime and you want to make a comment on anything not on the agenda, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature or dial *9 on your phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Amanda, we can. Identify yourself and your address for the record, please.
My name is Amanda Osterwitz, address 63 Green Tree Drive, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And
Go ahead. We can't hear you though.
Might have lost her.
Lost her?
Yeah. Mr. Rossetti, she's still there? We see your name on the screen. Oh,
Okay.
Well, there she is.
Okay.
there you are. Okay, Amanda. Are you on mute?
She looks like it's frozen.
Yeah.
now,
There you are. Go ahead.
Okay.
I was trying to figure out, I thought the last item on the agenda tonight was going to be the cannabis item.
We are moving along. That's going to be in the next section is other business, and that's the second item.
Oh, sorry, I thought the public comment was the very end. All right, perfect. Back
But
to me.
the public portion is for the public can speak on any item not on the agenda. What is on the agenda is going to be hearing the remarks from the special zoning subcommittee on cannabis as to what we're going to do with the existing one-year moratorium. There hasn't been any proposals submitted yet, but at the time that we do decide this, we do have to set a public hearing, and it's at that time any comments would be acceptable from the public. But if you're here tonight to speak on cannabis having to do with that agenda item, that we cannot allow. So just keep in touch with the planning and zoning office, and they can alert you to when it would be on the agenda for a public hearing. And then you're more than welcome to make any comment you'd like.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll go back to silent.
Thank you very much. Okay, anybody else from the public, Mr. Rossetti?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, last call. If there's anybody from the public that'd like to make a comment, please use Zoom's raise your hand feature. All right, hearing none, then we'll move on to the other business, the affordable housing plan for the city of Shelton. Like to clarify what we're doing tonight is reviewing it, discussing, and deciding on what action to take. So what I wanted to confirm is that everyone did receive the email of the basic plan and the summary of recommended actions to take back February 4th. It was emailed to everyone. And I thought it would just be helpful if we went section by section and hear whatever comments people want to make. And as noted on the cover page, besides the commission adopting this plan, it would also have to be approved by the Shelton Board of Aldermen. So skipping over the table of contents page, because numbers for pages could change as we go along. At some point, if we increase or decrease the comments in a section. Does anybody have any comments about the community value statement that's on page 3? Okay. All right. On page 4 is the introduction. And that goes pages 4 to 7. First page, we have bullet points about the existing conditions and or the reason for where housing is in Shelton and what happened over the last 30 years and especially over the last 10 years. And then we have some charts on page 5 showing what kind of multifamily units, the ratio of multifamily to single in Shelton, and the exact number of residential units in Shelton. The staff put this together, Mr. Rossetti, and so if there's any questions about the information on pages 4, 5, 6, or 7, and further on, he would be able to answer those for you.
Chair, can we just go back a second to the community value statement? I actually did have a comment on that.
Sure.
And also a request to, on the very first cover page to change, where was it? Mayor Loretti's, no, maybe it's not on that page. It's on page 2. Mayor Loretti's middle initial is A, not E. I'd make that correction if I were you. Also, on page 3, under the community value statement, I really question, and while I give them a lot of credit, they do get a lot of credit in our plan of conservation and development. I really don't think in this particular case that it's necessary to name any individuals for the success of Shelton. So in the second paragraph, they go on to say, including Frank Ozak, Nippy Russell, Ole Stevenson. You know, there's been a lot of folks that have donated a lot of time and effort to make the success of the city. And I just don't think it's necessary to name any individuals in this plan. I also question on the bottom, the last
Commissioner
paragraph.
Parkins, before you go on, just let me ask Mr. Rossetti, was there anything in particular, Mr. Rossetti, that led you to include their names? Was there something that where you took it from?
This section was predominantly written by other members of our staff, and they were just recalling history. I don't know these people in general, but they said that they were very involved, so that's the reason why it was included. I have no personal.
Well, historically, there's always been a lot of credit given to Frank Osak and Ole Stevenson as having been the father of planning and zoning in Shelton. So I can understand this. First time I've seen Nippy's name thrown in there.
Yeah, this is not that document. This is, you know, this is an affordable housing document.
Yeah, I
All right,
agree.
we could strike
We
that.
might want to, yeah, I would take the whole sentence out because I think what it's trying to say is the Route 8 corridor, which they helped to design. So you could be more general and just talking about how many people design the city's future. Because it ultimately gets to the corridor and then talks about how the corridor then led to retail establishments.
Okay. All right. So Commissioner Parkins, what was next that you wanted to bring up?
The last paragraph, it says the new challenge as set forth by the state of Connecticut. Is it a challenge or is it a statute? What is it? It's not.
It's a mandate, isn't it?
Yeah, Mr. Rossetti, changing the language from challenge to statute, mandate.
Require.
I would say requirement or statute. It's like a POCD that the state also needs to have on file.
All right, well, let's find a stronger
mandate
word.
Maybe
Yeah.
mandate is a better word.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
need a
would go along with
mandate, stronger word.
All right.
And then the very last, you know, there was quite a few, I'm a grammar person, so there's quite a few grammatical, I'm also a trained proofreader. So just the very last word says, enjoy a healthy meal. I think we should just change to enjoy healthy meals. In general, I would hope that they would want more than one healthy meal. So
It would be.
that's, you know, I can certainly go through this and provide comments directly to Alex as well. But that's all I had in that section. Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving along, pages 4 through 7. Anything on page 4 in particular? And Commissioner Parkins, you're more than welcome to be in touch with staff about anything that you see grammatically.
Okay, I do have a question on these graphs. I find it, a lot of times these graphs are covering over the Shelton bar and it's a
Yeah,
little
I brought
hard
that up to
that.
Mr. Rossetti. It's
Yeah.
because it was imported as PDF and it would have to be reconstructed because I had marked up my first draft and said, move this out of the way.
So was it just like a snip from a PDF document that already
Mhm.
exists, like from the CAS or something? Okay, all right.
Mr. Rossetti, is that correct?
That's correct. I did
Okay.
go back again and see if there was a way I could manipulate the graphs. The only way we could do it is if we rebuilt all the data and made new graphs.
Right.
Do you have Adobe, the PDF where you can edit it?
No.
I think I just, my subscription expired and I was going
I
to.
have it. It's a great tool. I
Try
don't
that.
know.
Yeah, I've used it before for that. So I'll put a question mark by that graph.
Yeah, I'm not sure the way they brought it in. I think it would have to be changed on the original PDF because
Mhm.
I can't change it on this, so.
No.
um,
All right,
maybe-
next, anything else further on that page?
Not for me.
Are we past page 6 yet?
No, we're on 5.
Okay.
So anything, everybody understand the 2 graphs? And I think the bottom was pretty clear altogether, which shows the overwhelming percentage of housing stock in the city is single family units.
Yeah.
Okay, then on page 6, top graph, the housing occupancy. So it shows in the little block that over 3/4 of the housing units are owned and owner occupied.
Can I just make a comment about that?
Sure.
These are statistics that are 3 years old. And with all the apartment construction that has been happening, are the current statistics a little bit more valid perhaps? Or else recognize in the narrative that based on figures of 3 years ago, this is what it is?
Yeah, Mr. Rossetti, I think we had a conversation about that as to whether or not there were more current statistics.
We looked for the best available data that was tangible for us. There are data sets out there in massive Excel files that you can use. This is a resource given to all the municipalities from the ACS. It's a highly respected survey.
And could we qualify that paragraph that says based
Sure.
on statistics
These
as of 3 years
statistics
ago?
aren't going to change between end of 2018 and now. I mean, at most, they might change a few percentage points at most.
But at least you could say based on information or data.
Well, page 6, it does say that in the last paragraph, the number 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, 2 bedroom units have been
Correct.
increasing since these numbers were reported in 2018 and are expected to rise with the ongoing development in the downtown area.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
that's one
maybe
way of
instead of the
putting it.
downtown area, we can just say in the Shelton area.
I think
Okay.
that would be more appropriate.
Okay.
All right, so anything else for page 6? Okay, going on to page 7, where we have the top graph that shows in change in 18 years of how many seniors lived in houses and how many youth. So the seniors are the red line. So we've had an increase in seniors in Shelton in households, and the red line is someone under 18, the blue line rather, and that's decreased.
It's not surprising considering
No,
that most seniors are on fixed income, so they're looking for low taxes, right? I mean, that's not a surprising statistic at all.
not at all.
Of an aging population.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely,
You don't
right.
want to move because why would you move? Wherever you move to, it's going to be more expensive.
Exactly.
And if you look at that first paragraph, third or fourth sentence, it starts off, households with young adults tend to seek smaller, often rental housing.
Mhm.
And growing families seek larger homes. So as people enter their later years, they often seek to downsize, but no. Okay, then anything with the 3 paragraphs? No comments there? Okay, we have the age of units graph. That dark blue is the percentages of the built before 1950, between 50 and 1970, and after 1970. All right. How about on Page 8, we're going on to affordable housing, our pages 8, 9, and 10.
Just a couple of grammatical things, just on some of the bullets, close the parentheses.
Oh, okay. Good catch.
I have a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you finished, Commissioner Chickie?
Yes.
I just have a general question for an 830G application, and I'm trying to remember what section I saw this in. Are all the units deemed affordable? Like if somebody
No.
comes in and proposes an 830G application?
No,
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 30%.
that's the bad part of
30%?
it.
Oh,
30%.
no,
30%
Correct.
is what would be required?
Right.
Okay.
oh.
And at what AMI?
Both. High
mix?
tier and low tier. I believe that has to be, don't quote me on the.
80 and
division.
60, right?
That's correct. I don't remember if it's supposed to be split 50-50, but I believe that's the case. Half have to be at 80%, half have to be at 60%.
Is it based on the number of units being proposed or not?
Yes, so if we have 100 units, 33 would have to be deed restricted, and then you know 16 of those would be
At 80?
80, and then 17,
14 being on the other.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
60.
All right.
Okay.
And then,
Go ahead.
thank you for that answer. So does the 30% housing, affordable monthly housing costs take into consideration utilities like heat and electricity as well as
Well,
the rent itself? Because
you will
there's
see it-
nowhere in this plan that's mentioned.
Yes, down at the bottom. Yeah, Appendix B.
Oh, in
I
the
have-
appendix, I didn't get to the appendix.
That's okay. So it
Okay.
is, you, as part of a owner's rent, you deduct utility costs, basic utility costs. I'm not talking TV, heat,
And
electricity, gas, water,
water.
period.
So who deducts that?
The owner deducts that from their rent. So the tenant does not pay for utilities.
I don't know
It-
that I'm following that.
In an
Okay,
affordable housing
if
proposal?
rent is $1,100, you
Yep.
then subtract the cost of the utilities from the rent that you would charge.
Right.
So if the max rent is $1,100, you subtract all the utilities, and let's say then it's $1,000. That's what you can charge the tenant.
I think, Alex, on, when you go to the back, I know like 30, where you start
Okay.
showing the
Yep.
appendix EC, I guess, it does show that on step 9 on page 32, how that's deducted.
Yep, it's in there.
So you kind of, you do these calculations, you get a
Right.
number, and
But
then
what if the renter is paying the utilities?
they don't. As part of an affordable unit, they
You
are
sure?
not. Yes,
Every
So
particular.
The folks that sign up for, the folks that are granted an affordable unit do not pay utilities. It's included in
they
their
do
rent.
not pay heat, hot water, electricity, and this is all, and there are fair market values
Ah,
based off of Department of Housing utility allowance.
okay. But everybody else would have to.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
if we go down to say,
'cause that could be, these days it could be higher than the rent.
high
Yeah,
rise.
you're right.
So if you've got heating in a high rise for a 1-bedroom unit, the fair market rent by HUD is $52 per month for natural gas, $105 a month for oil, $78 a month for electricity, $106 for bottled gas. And they break it down by type of amenity, electricity, so on and so forth. You get it. I don't have to go through it.
Okay, now,
Okay, yep.
Alex, that's fair market. Now suppose, is
This
that
is-
that
let me-
kind of like an allowance? Is it,
Yes,
suppose it goes
this is-
over that?
This is the allowance. Let me rephrase.
Okay,
that.
so anything over that, the renter would have to pay?
Mhm. Somebody's got to make.
I mean,
it.
that's the
this
way
is-
I would take it.
No, I believe this is the maximum that a landlord is allowed to charge.
Oh, okay.
So they have to deduct those rates from the cost
From
of
the
the
rent.
rent, and that's
Right.
what people have to be charged. So it's not based on current pricing, it's based on guidelines that are established by HUD.
Let
Mhm.
me clarify how much can be deducted for utilities before I
Okay.
respond.
Okay, but thank you for that. That makes it clearer to me.
Yeah.
Lot less clear to me. I don't know. I don't,
There's a lot in this plan. There really is.
Yeah,
yeah.
there is. It's a lot to digest.
This wasn't a plan, it was a dissertation.
Well, I
yeah,
think, you have to read it, discuss it, and then you have to read it again. I would
Good.
suggest that everybody read it again, because now that you've got the answers to some of these questions,
Mhm.
it may provide some further insight or further questions.
yes.
All right, any other comments for page 8? All right, page 9 has 2 distinct charts. And you'll notice that they're identified as the Bridgeport, Stanford, Norwalk, MSA. That's the territory that we're in. Mr. Rosetti, anything on this particular page you want to point out?
No,
I was curious, household size 1, household size 6, is that the number of people? in the
Yeah.
hou- Okay,
Mhm.
so it's 1 person, 2 persons, et cetera.
Mhm. Yep, that's their income breakdown.
and the AMI sales, is that like if you're not renting, you're buying a house? What's
Alex,
So rent and sales.
Alex, in the second chart, the last column.
Would
Yep,
that be the
yes.
mortgage payment?
I am just getting cut up. I was just taking a note. Okay, so in the second chart here, yes, this is for sales of a home or condo or whatever type of unit you would like it to be.
That's been deed restricted.
Correct. And so one thing to keep in mind that is can be beneficial for especially seniors on a fixed income. When you go to purchase a affordable unit, the only time your income is evaluated is at the time of sale. So if you are recently retired, you're not collecting Social Security, if there are a few years where perhaps you're not generating a tremendous amount of income, you might have qualified for an affordable unit, even though you may have, $1 billion in the bank. That's not what's evaluated. It's gross income. So something to keep in mind, hopefully for developers and future homeowners is, you don't have to be sneaky about it, but the affordable housing application, I have conversations all the time with people, and I'm sure you guys do too. It kind of has a bad rap, just that terminology. And you can call it workforce housing, you can call it whatever you want. But it's not for, it's for everybody, but it's not just for, a bum. These income limits are very middle class America.
Right.
Many people that I'm sure we all work with would qualify for these units. So long answer to a short question.
All right,
Thank
so
you for that.
gross income is evaluated, not assets.
So Alex,
Correct.
they sell one of these, though, they sell it within the range that's allowed for an affordable
That's correct.
time.
Correct.
They could loot, they don't necessarily get the gain of a gain.
Correct. Of appreciation as much as the market rate unit would. So that's the trade-off. They would buy a unit at, let's say if I buy a 2-bedroom townhouse for $250,000, at 80% AMI sales, it's going to follow whatever HUD publishes as a permitted sale rate.
Right,
So
so
if I
that,
have, go
than
ahead.
the market rate. Like the income, the housing market could be hotter than the wage market,
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
or in reverse.
like now.
Yep.
Yeah, all right.
But would just getting a Jaffa mortgage qualify you for, I'm not,
Yes.
okay, so it would
There
have to be
are-
some sort of government mortgage.
So you don't have to have a Chaffa mortgage to purchase an affordable house. Let me make that clear.
Right,
There
but
are-
the affordable house has to be an existing deed restricted property.
Got it. You got it. Yes.
Okay.
No, I didn't understand. I had a Jaffa mortgage when I had bought my first little house. And that I sold it at a tidy profit. So how does this Jaffa mortgage fit into this affordable housing?
It
plan.
fits in because I don't know how it works behind the scenes, but when someone in Shelton uses a Chaffa mortgage,
Yeah,
that is picked up at, I'm not sure if it's Office of Policy Management, maybe Jimmy can fill in the blanks for me. It's picked up at the state level and they record it like, hey, there's 50 households in Shelton using Chaffa mortgages. Because of that, we get points, which you'll see down below. We get housing unit equivalent, I'm butchering it, points for our affordable housing appeals list.
but
And
those
so it-
those owners aren't restricted to selling to as an
No.
affordable.
No, nope.
Yeah.
There
So you
are,
get-
there are really
Yeah.
4 different brackets or 4 different avenues you can pursue for affordable housing.
Mhm.
I forget which page I tried to make that very clear.
Yeah, it's down below, but in terms of
Okay.
qualifying for a Jaffa mortgage, there are qualifications. You've got to be within a certain income, I believe.
Yeah,
They,
yeah.
first time home buyer. So there are some qualifications you need to get a Jaffa mortgage, but they typically have no down payments. So they make it very easy for people that fit within their requirements to get a mortgage.
Ruth, I
Okay.
had extra jobs to qualify for that Jaffa mortgage. So
What's that?
I said I had to get 2 extra jobs to qualify for.
Did you?
Yeah.
Mr. Rossetti, I think those bullet points are on page 8.
Oh, they're also on page 15 too.
Okay.
Either one. I tried to make that.
Yeah,
I
I like Alex's suggestion before I apply for Social Security. I'll
Yeah.
apply for a mortgage.
Hey,
Mhm.
I mean,
Jaffa, get affordable housing unit. I don't know.
All right, are we ready to move on past page 9?
Yes.
Anything on page 10? All right, so moving on, pages 11 to 15 are findings, and the first under findings is Shelton's market affordability, which reviews the situation as it stands with the most recent statistics that were available.
Could I ask if it's possible for the commission, at least I'll speak for myself, to get a printed copy of this?
sure.
Because I think it'd be much easier than trying to read and edit online.
The email that you received had it as an attachment.
Yeah, but that means I'd have to print it out.
Yeah, all right, so.
My printer's gonna use like, my printer's gonna use an awful lot of ink to print out 35-page documents. So I'm just curious
I
if the
feel
city
your
can
pain.
kind of
I feel your
front
pain.
the bill on that.
Yeah.
I access to a printer. I already asked Alex and he said he would get me one. So I'm sure he'd get one for you too. Right?
Can I have a count of how many people need a printout? Or would like one?
Me, please.
Me.
I can use a printout.
4.
I made my own.
Why don't you do 5 or 6? Because Commissioner Onofrio's not here tonight.
Okay,
Thank
Right,
you.
so on page 11, we have the market affordability and two bar charts there. Any questions with this?
Found these very, very revealing.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure are.
Yeah, what's the source of these numbers?
They many of them,
39% of rental housing and 28% owner occupied.
hang on, let me just go back to which,
Was that ACS again?
I'm trying to, which page are you on now?
11.
Sorry.
About Shelton's affordability.
No, this was not ACS. I can tell you the source later. This was HUD. This is a
HUD,
HUD source.
okay.
Yep.
So let's attribute
As
that.
of what date again?
This was a 2020 source.
2020?
Yep.
Okay, so add an attribute to that somewhere.
I have a question on 15 when we get there.
Okay. Anything on page 12? Shows the income levels between renters and owners. Okay, then we get into specifics with the bottom chart with rental rates for downtown versus the top of the next page, 13, where we have Bridgeport Avenue corridor rental rates. With the bottom line in each chart showing what the average rental is. So you can see the range from $13.50 for studios downtown to $15.95 and so on.
The Ridge Sawmill, is that AJ's project?
That's the one on,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
next to the assisted living on Beard Sawmill Road.
Okay, okay, that's what I thought it was.
I would say what the Marriott Apartments charge for rent, they have a lot of nerve charging for a parking place on top of it. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Marion
Unless,
apartment,
unless
where
that,
are they?
unless that includes a parking place.
Where are the Marion apartments?
That's the Avalon on Canal
Avalon
Street.
on
Old
Canal
Avalon
Street.
on
Oh, that's
Canal Street.
Avalon, okay.
Yeah.
They changed.
All right, you know, as we go along too, if you feel that there are any charts or graphs which should not be included or ones that you feel should be, then please speak up. All right, so the bottom chart, number of housing, cost burden, households by income group. Mr. Rossetti, you want to explain that one a little bit?
It's
On page 13.
Yep. It's when you think about it for a minute, it's hopefully kind of common sense. But those of lower incomes have to pay well over 30% of their gross income on rent. And so, you know, that figure that you're looking at, 716 households that are cost burdened, is very high, but also very high for homeowners. And keep in mind, these are people that currently live in Shelton. So there are over 2,000 households, both owner and renters, that make below $35,000 gross income annual, that spend over 30% of their income on housing. Now, this could be because they're now on fixed income. They've recently retired. They may not have a tremendous amount of income, but they have a large amount of assets, and you know, they haven't made that switch. There could be a variety of reasons, but I think the underlying presentation is that those on making less than $40,000 a year are generally more cost burdened to find housing that they can realistically afford than those making above that amount.
And I assume that would also include, again, the seniors who may be in a big house because they can't afford
Yep.
to downsize or whatever. But it's not just like they may not have a mortgage, but they may have taxes, they may have, high utility bills, high heating bills, that sort of thing. So I assume all of that is taken into consideration for their 30% or whatever.
That's why they make those calculations part of the housing costs and those
Right.
Section 8 calculators.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to page 14. We have two charts there. Okay, page 15. Commissioner Dickey, what was your question?
Yeah, just in the middle of the page, when we say it should be noted that there may be affordable units within a municipality, not necessarily occupied by lower income households. Are we just trying to say there that there are affordable units on the books that just happen to be vacant, but they still count?
No, the point that we're trying to get across is there are affordable units, and notice lowercase affordable. There are units that would be affordable for someone making less than $50,000 per se,
Right.
but someone in a higher income bracket is renting that unit just because of such a high demand for units, which then
Some of the older housing in downtown Shelton, for example,
correct.
it's lower cost, but it could very well be rented by people that can afford a lot higher rents.
Right. It could
Correct.
also just be that they consider themselves that have a good deal and they don't want to move.
Or
Yeah.
both, any of the above.
Right.
It's just worth noting that even in the sentence above, when there's a gap of between the housing demand for people with less income than for those making above $50,000-$70,000 a year. They can afford market rent. Those below that rate cannot afford the market rate.
So they're not being counted as affordable units, correct?
They are not.
Okay.
So should we
Likely
say
they're
that there
not
may be
needed.
so should we be saying that there may be affordable units, or should we say there may be units that could be affordable?
I will revise that to make
That's a
that
good
more clear.
idea.
Good point.
Mhm.
That could be considered affordable, but are
Right. I think
not.
that was my hang up. So so then I think with that edit, that's clear.
Mhm.
If you made them affordable, would that force people out that are in them if they don't?
No,
I think we're saying if now a lower income individual or household then moved into that and it worked and it met the requirements, then you could be on a path of making that an affordable unit. But right now it's not affordable.
Yeah.
If it's not deed restricted, it couldn't, like that person could move out and they can raise the rent if it's not deeded.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
they could the owner could raise the rent if he wants to at any time. Unless he's tied in with a
True.
lease.
True.
Not deeded though, right?
Yeah.
Not if it's deeded.
Deed restricted houses have a rent requirement.
Right.
Okay, a ceiling, so to speak. Okay, so at the bottom half of page 15 is again a restatement of the 4 kinds of ways that a piece of property could be considered to be in the affordable housing category if deed restricted. And this is what the current count is in Shelton right now: 254, 40, 118, and 82. And what has happened within the last 2 years based on the 2021 statistics that staff received.
So just to clarify again for everyone, these are the avenues that we need to pursue
Mhm.
to acquire points and increase our affordable housing inventory. So the government assisted housing is kind of the more stereotypical government housing that can range from penitentiaries to the government housing facility to a municipal housing facility. It kind of, there's a big range there.
Our seniors, our senior housing here?
That's the 254.
it
It's our
has to be-
our senior units, housing authority units.
It has to be sponsored by the government.
Okay.
But our
The-
Sinsville Heights and Helen DeVoe, are those the ones that are in that category?
The
Yes,
254, yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Alex, I have a question. How about
sir.
like the Spooner House and things like that? Are they considered
I don't know enough about the
affordable?
Spooner
I mean, they
House,
have
but
bedrooms.
I don't believe so. I believe that's a room and board type of situation, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
very.
I'm just
transient.
thinking, you mentioned prisons, so,
But that's very transient housing.
But it's government assisted because you have to apply to
Mhm.
the government to get a.
yeah, right, exactly.
Homeless people can't just
So-
go to the Spooner's house and knock on the door and get let in. It's
Okay.
not that type of shelter. It's a state financed shelter.
I
Right,
will do some research on the Spooner House and see what I can
okay,
find.
thank you.
I have a feeling that may be government assisted. I don't know enough about it. I have a feeling that may be a traditional next line rental assistance facility where
Mm,
and I could be totally wrong, but the rental assistant credits we get, that's your Section 8 voucher. So if you are an individual and you want to go live in any unit anywhere, you may do so if you have a Section 8 voucher, for example. And the way that works is, I walk into Don Stanziel's new building downtown. His rate is $2,500 a month. I have an agreement with the state to pay up to $1,500 a month. The state would then cover the remaining $1,000 a month.
Right, that's rental assistance. I think the Spooner House
Correct.
would be qualified more under the government assisted because
Okay,
it's they don't charge the people that are staying there any rent at all.
Right.
right.
So
Got
I
it.
think it's
Okay.
just,
It's not like the interior has individual apartments. The only part of that building that has are family units. So if you have a mom with children or.
right, right.
okay,
But otherwise, you're in a ward, so to speak.
got it.
Yeah, but it's,
Okay.
and it's not permanent, it's temporary housing,
yeah.
but so is prisons. I mean, they're not
Right,
permanent.
exactly.
Yeah, but they have a preset term.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you can stay 30 days or something, and there's a program that you have to go, but it's, it's worth checking because they might have like 30 beds there that we could,
mhm,
get
Right.
some sort of points for. So let's check all avenues.
I
Sure.
certainly will. What gets tricky is, and the same thing applies, I'm trying to think of another good example, but it's based off of a unit. So if it's a house, we will only get credit for one house.
Right,
If
mhm.
if there are multiple bedrooms in a house, but only one house, if we did restricted your house, but you've got 20 people living in there, we still only get credit for one house. It's not based off of bedrooms or
When
bathrooms.
you say house, you mean living unit.
Correct, living unit.
Well, what about, we've got a couple in Shelton now that we've approved where it's like an aging seniors.
Correct.
That there may be like 4 bedrooms, but they share the rest of the common space. So there's 4 individual seniors living there.
Correct.
They
We get
each have
credit
their own.
for, we would get credit for one unit, but those are not deed restricted.
All right, so that's something else we have to ask our state representative to help us
Mhm.
change this wording a little bit in this.
At the top of page 16 on the right half, under the program, they do specify housing for the homeless and it indicates 0 in Shelton. So looks like that's what staff could update if your investigation finds out anything different.
Yeah, absolutely.
CAFA USDA mortgages. I'm just taking a note. We are not eligible. I actually talked to Jamie Jones this week on a different matter, but I asked him if they had ever been able to use a USDA mortgage, and he said yes, through a credit union that is backed by the USDA. Because when you go on the USDA mortgage website, it says that Shelton is not eligible for those mortgages. So I'm hopefully gonna get a little clarity there because you would think that many of the farms up in the White Hills area, well, they have, because I was told that they have used USDA mortgages, so that would count. But for certain, we can use Chaffin mortgages. And then the last part is one that's really within our control is the deed restricted units, which would be things like in-laws, apartments, new developments, and so on.
Mhm. Okay, page 16. Two charts at the top. One at the bottom. And the bottom one in particular is the cautionary one. As to what we have to strive for.
So one thing to just keep in the back of your mind, so you can remember, we're almost at 500 units of current affordable housing. If we can encapsulate some of these mobile home parks, existing accessory dwelling units, and pick up just the existing stock that we just aren't getting credit for, I mean, we could, without too much work, we could hopefully get up that number up towards 6, 7, maybe even 8%. And then with a little work on these new applications that are coming in for high density residential development, you know, I know that the knee jerk reaction is 10%. That's out of the question. If we can make it work, it's not. You know, and I'm not saying tomorrow, I'm not saying next year, but we can
Down the
do it.
road.
We can do it, and other towns have done it. So, you know,
Well, if anybody can do it, we can with all the growth we're experiencing.
yeah.
Alex, could the city buy those trailer parks? Assuming they'd be on the market, and then turn it and then create some kind of exchange where the residents would then own them like a condo?
They,
Converted into a resident-owned park.
that's up for discussion. You know, if the residents owned it and were able to, I got to look at the chart again and remember how it works. Yeah, I mean, we would get credit for those. You got to look at
That's
the
a
chart.
pretty profitable business though, for the owner of that
Oh,
property.
no doubt about it. That's a hard.
That's
know,
why it would cost you.
For them to try
money.
the city try to buy that property, I think would be almost impossible for the price that they would want for it.
The
Because then they
one,
just lease. But again, that's something that if we can get some help with changing the wording to be able to get credit for that, because they are affordable. And I think if, you know, if the folks are willing to deed it as such, we should get credit, even though they don't own the land it's on, they own the unit.
so the one other kind of big wrinkle when you read through these affordable housing statements from state DOH is it's not just short-term affordable, it's having long-term affordable housing, which is why they have that 40-year deed restriction, which we can like it or not like it, that's the way it is. So I know that's why there is pushback against the market rate affordable, because that could change. You know, and we've seen how quickly housing markets can change just in the past, 18 months. So I know that's why there's opposition to that. Of course, it would be great for us if we did get credit for market rate affordability. But back to the trailer home conversation, there is, on the staff level, there have been a lot of conversations about what can we do to bring them to the table, because two of the biggest ones are in prime locations on Bridgeport Avenue. Right across from Fountain Square and right next
Sort
to
of tax incentive might work.
well, so that's another topic that you'll also see in this plan, another tax abatement thing. So
Yeah.
There are conversations that are being had. We will continue to look into it. And again, this is a plan of action. It's not this is gonna happen tomorrow, snap the fingers, click your heels.
Right. But if the deed restriction is on the actual mobile home and not on the property it's on, what that would mean is in the event, like it happened in Milford, where they closed up the park and people had to find someplace else to move their mobile homes to, it would run with it would run with that
You
mobile
got
home.
it. No, it would run with the land.
No, no,
Yes.
because they don't own the land.
So no, let's say if we were able to get credit for rented mobile home units at one of these parks that has whatever, 200 trailers. The deed restrictions for any of these projects run with the land.
Wow.
So for example, there was a project in Norwalk, not too far from where I live, that was recently torn down. There were like 100 affordable units. They had to rebuild all of those 100 affordable units, and then they put some market rate units on top of that, because the 40-year deed restriction was not up. So if one of these mobile home facilities, let's say they said, oh, we want to pack up, we want to move, we want to build, and they were deed restricted, great, go ahead, you can build your commercial shopping center there, but you still have to make up the 100 mobile home deed restricted units in some capacity. So whether you want to build condos or apartments, whatever, that would be up to the commission to approve. But a future landowner would have to make sure those units are picked up.
That's not gonna work.
That's a real sticky situation. I don't see that working unless they change the language to be able to run in the case of mobile homes, because a house, you can't just pick up and move it somewhere. I mean, you can, but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas a mobile home, you could just, you get somebody to put it up on a, whatever flatbed and you move it, right?
The point is they're trying to protect that
Housing.
it would remain if the landowner decided to do something different.
Right, right. They got it, the state's got to get creative, but whatever. Okay.
Top of page 17, Mr. Rossetti, anything in particular you want to point out about that chart?
That's the moneymaker. That's it.
Okay, so that's the schedule of points that we would
Correct.
get for each of those categories.
Yep.
All right, then we go into demographics of Shelton. On pages 17, 18, and the top of 19. Any comments about those? Okay, then we have on pages 19 and 20, land use and zoning assessment. It talks about the central business district.
I have something on 20.
Mhm.
Shelton does not have a mass transit hub, such as an airport, bus terminal, train station, ferry service. However, Bridgeport Ave and River Road are serviced by Greater Bridgeport Transit Bus Service. I think it might be worth adding that there is the Shelton Derby train station in Derby. That was actually Connecticut's only Tiger grant. Those are the federal grants. It got $12 million last year from the Fed to make that a whole intermodal center. And there are real plans with money behind it to do more stops on the Waterbury lines, and that's real. So I think it's just worth noting, since a lot of folks in downtown might, especially with the new Derby Shelton Bridge, might now find themselves, especially young people, walking over the bridge and going to that train station. So I would just like to add a sentence after the bus piece that we do have the Shelton Derby.
I didn't realize that got a Tiger grant. That's very cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
really competitive. So things are already really happening there, like with real money behind it. So for transit-oriented developments for downtown Derby and downtown Shelton, I think that's relevant.
I agree. I had that same comment that we actually share a train station with Derby, and that train station is in walking or biking distance of our downtown.
And the fact that with the bridge over to Derby being improved, they
Right.
have to decide a specific bike lane.
Yeah, we definitely need to take credit for that.
Yeah, staff definitely can add something that addresses the proximity that we have to the train station. Okay, and bike lanes. Okay, anything else on page 20?
I also had something else on page 30 under E. It says, where is it?
30. How'd we get to
30,
30?
no, we're 20.
I'm sorry, 20. I'm sorry, 20. I'm sorry,
Okay.
20.
How do we,
Um,
yeah, what happened to the business district zone change? Okay,
No, we're still on page 20.
yeah.
I know, and now I can't find it.
So we're talking about transportation.
Oh, here, on the third paragraph, as numerous developments along River Road and Nichols Avenue are either in preliminary review stages, don't you mean Bridgeport Avenue? River Road and Bridgeport Avenue, not Nichols Avenue?
Yep. That's a good catch.
At least I didn't know of
Mr.
any.
Pizzetti, would you concur with that?
I must have been looking at the Gamble Place maps or something while I was
Mhm.
riding. I don't know.
Well, Nichols Avenue goes through Huntington. That's Huntington
Yeah, that's-
Center.
Yeah, I know, it
down
dumps
to
out
Stratford.
and.
Other than AJ's big housing project
correct.
on there,
Yes,
there's
you're-
nothing.
You are correct, I'm not sure why.
Bridgeport Avenue.
Okay, that's all I had on 20.
All right, 21 finishes up that section, which is very short. Okay, so we have now on page 22 starts the strategies. So this is where we go into the kinds of ways of achieving the means to the end. So anybody have any questions about what was stated on page 22?
I don't know, the city, I had something I'm not aware of. The city has rental properties. Are those, how are they managed? Are they under Department of Housing or?
It's considered municipal housing, right? The baby.
You refer to the senior housing?
No, no,
these
there's
are-
pictures of 4 houses right there on page 22, which are
Oh.
representative of one.
It's not a big resource.
No,
No,
it's just the fact that this
single multifamily houses.
yeah, these exist, and Commissioner Motto's question, I believe, was how is that managed? So,
Especially if you expand on that, like,
Yeah, it's saying that it would, the city, the way I read it, it's the city would look to expand affordable housing by acquiring blighted properties or renovating them and then deed restricting each. So would the city be taking on more?
they'd be,
housing administration?
what department would? I don't,
yeah, so Mr. Rossetti, who oversees the rental properties in town? Do you know?
Yes, the mayor's office and building maintenance.
Okay. All right,
And what?
so
Building and what?
building and maintenance.
Building
Okay.
maintenance, not,
Okay.
not building department, building maintenance, the city's building and maintenance.
Well, there's also reference about potentially hiring somebody else to work along with somebody else to find
Correct.
other properties that could be
We do
developed.
have. we
That's
do-
later on.
Yeah.
Just in subsection I, though, the recommended action would be perhaps for the city to expand the affordable housing stock by acquiring these heavily blighted or foreclosed properties, renovating them, and deed restricting each. So, and as it says in the first sentence, the ones that do exist, the city is going through the process of deed restricting them, so they can be counted in. But Mr. Rossetti, can you explain the part that we talked about in conjunction with the state housing commissioner per Connecticut General Statute 8-216?
Okay, so this ties into both this bullet point and the following bullet point regarding accessory dwelling units.
Mm-hmm.
The town can offer subsidies to home, well, first for this section. The town can offer subsidies or tax abatements to homeowners, and then upon agreement with the housing commissioner, ask for reimbursement of those funds from Department of Housing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, and then how about in section 2, down below the pictures?
It's basically the same way. That's, yeah, the town can ask for to cover the cost of a reduced tax rate, can come to an agreement with the housing commissioner to reimburse them for that difference in offset cost between the lower rate and market rate.
I thought section 2 was talking about identifying and certifying that there are affordable dwelling units in town, but or accessory dwelling units in town, and certifying that there are others out there that are not on the.
Correct, but you
accessory dwelling.
mentioned
Yeah.
the abatement part, so.
Okay.
And number one, where the city owns the housing, we rent the house at a lower cost. It's like the deed restricted component of it. And then that would get reimbursed through the city. The
Mhm.
way it works for a private homeowner is first, the town covers the tax abatement cost to the homeowner. And then at the end of the year, we would be reimbursed by the state. So it's just one extra step, pretty much.
All right, so in subsection 2, there are 2 situations existing and 2 recommended actions for consideration by the city. So anything that is an accessory dwelling unit that has not already been approved, there could be efforts to do so throughout the city and without any fees to the property owner for the as part of the permitting process. The second recommended action is, again, to work with the Commissioner of Housing to get some kind of reimbursement from the state for a deed restriction.
Is that the State Commissioner of Housing?
Correct.
I was just going to mention that if we could just find one wording and stick with that. Sometimes we call her the Commissioner of Housing and other times the Housing Commissioner. So just
Okay.
throughout the document.
Is there a preferred one?
Commissioner of the Department of Housing is what it should be.
Okay.
All right.
On hold on, where I just had it. Number 3, I think.
Top of page 23. Go
Yes.
ahead.
Connecticut state representatives. Do we want to say state legislators? Because we also have a state senator who might be involved, who's the minority leader in the Senate. So maybe we want to broaden it out to our Connecticut state legislators. Really, maybe our Shelton state legislators. They are the legislators for Shelton that we want to work with to maybe fix this issue with the mobile homes.
Good point.
Okay. Shelton State legislators. Okay. Yeah, I took representatives as the all-encompassing type for both the rep and the 2 reps that we have in the state senator that we have.
But
Yeah,
that's
but they are typically referred to as representatives.
Okay, anything else in subsection 3?
Well, I'm just these, so-called mother-in-law apartments. There's probably lots and lots of them that may be occupied by people whose income would fit within the guidelines. If those homeowners applied, if they were willing to turn it into an affordable unit, deed restrict it, and get some kind of tax abatement, and then know that they could continue to rent that property when a relative no longer needed it.
How long is that 40-year period? That's a
Yeah,
long period of time for most people to think about.
Yeah, but if you create a mother-in-law apartment and the mother-in-law dies, which they often in a few years, you're stuck with either renting it illegally, which probably lots of people do, or having invested $100,000 in that kind of a.
It's open to more than just a mother-in-law. It's as long as it's family related, a blood relative.
Whatever, whoever that person is that you.
Yeah.
That's for it's very temporary where that's going to work out, and then stuck with a big investment with either using it, renting it out illegally, or leaving it vacant.
I agree. I think the commission should look into broadening its criteria based on affordability also. The only problem is the darn 40-year restriction.
Yeah, but it's forever restriction that they can't use it unless they find another relative.
Unless we build into the regulation, Tony, that, because a lot of times people will go ahead and do it, right? And then they go to sell the property and they never got the right permits. Make it like you can't, we cannot approve this sale unless you deed restrict the property or something, put some teeth behind it.
Well, it could be an incentive, more of an incentive approach too. Where it would make sense to say, here, you can continue to rent this mother-in-law apartment, but as an affordable.
I think we should be looking at broadening it beyond that, just treating them as an accessory dwelling unit to which a lot of people are entitled if they're willing to agree to the 40-year commitment.
But I'm thinking,
But what do we,
that already have those units built and their mother-in-law is living there, get them out of the woodwork and say, we're going to offer you an incentive. So that
I think that's one of the items that Alex was considering, that we should try to blend it into our regulations somehow.
yeah, it can't be a huge incentive because our taxes are already pretty low. So, we don't want to necessarily reward people for hiding things from us, right?
Correct. So this won't work. There's, Elaine, you're right on the money.
Yeah, thank you.
The ADUs have to be deed restricted for us to get credit. But a way to incentivize people to come in, we know there's probably hundreds of these ADUs that have been approved over the years that they may be rented, they may not be rented.
Right.
But that's another key point. Even if they're not rented,
they would qualify.
As long as they're deed restricted, we still get credit for that unit. So, if I'm your nephew and I'm living above your garage and you're not charging me rent, if you deed restricted that unit, you can charge me $0 a month.
Right.
But the town still gets credit for that. So,
right.
But as an incentive to hopefully bring in some of those people with pre-existing, non-conforming, illegal, whatever you want to call them, ADUs, that's why I had in that paragraph a section about hopefully trying to work with the Department of Housing on the tax abatement potential.
That are legally occupied, though, they're probably lower income people who would, if they're contributing to the rent, it probably is an affordable amount.
Correct.
On the other hand, those people have to report that as income if they're a legal entity, right? They have to report it.
Correct.
Not a lot of people want to report that income.
Well,
that's the requirement.
Right.
So my brain just shut off. Sorry.
It's getting late.
Okay, seeing that it is getting to be 20 of 9, and we do have another dozen, or at least a dozen pages more to go. Should we table this at this point and pick up from section B on page 23 at our next meeting so that we would have time to move on to the next agenda item, which is.
Well, I would suggest that everybody give some serious thought to item D, because that's where the rubber hits the road of this plan.
Yep.
Do you want me to run through that in 2 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, you're on the clock.
Yep, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Whoa. All right. This is, as we've said, where the rubber meets the road, a breakdown of what the numbers look like for these high density residential developments. Okay. The top chart is a recommendation guideline. How many units should be deed restricted based off of the size of the development? So if you have anywhere between 5 and 20 units, 10%, 21 to 50 units, 12%, 51 to 100 units, 16%, 101 plus 22%. And then how many of these units should be broken down by 80% or 60% AMI, and then split up in the following category. I played around with numbers for a while. And that's what this chart is summarizing down below. If you look at and so each example is the bookend of these numbers up above. So 5 and 20, 21 and 50, 51, 100, 101, 200. And it breaks down how much revenue these developments would make at a market rate cost versus an annual revenue with the affordable units, the change in percentage of revenue. And if you approve the project, so if you approved a 51 unit development here with this guideline at 16% with 8 affordable units, 6 of them at the 80% guideline, 2 of them at the 60% AMI, they would generate $944,000, $400 of annual revenue, which would be a 9% loss compared to if it was totally market rate.
Mhm.
To offset that cost, the landowner would have to increase their market rate value to $1,856.86 from $1,800.
Mhm.
This is all based off of an $1,800 market rate unit. I would just
So they'd
type it-
have to raise the rent on everybody else to be able to
Mhm.
break even on the affordable units.
Exactly.
correct by $56.
And only if they can get the money, and only if that, flies with the market, but
Well, so this is, I mean, these numbers align pretty closely with when you look at the
They do.
the rates
You're absolutely
downtown.
right.
I mean, I didn't just come up with these numbers.
Yeah.
These are based off of real.
Page
real
12
life-
is the chart.
Okay, sorry.
12 and 13.
All
Yep.
right, I'm getting to it. So a 1 bedroom downtown, 1772. I mean, you're right at $1,800 there. I mean, a 1 bedroom on Bridgeport Avenue, forget about it. You're in a studio.
yeah.
So, and keep in
Mm.
mind, the more expensive the unit is at market rate, the easier it is to offset that cost of the affordable unit.
Because of the ratio.
Correct.
Mhm.
And also when you start talking supply and demand, right, as we add all these additional apartments, there's going to be additional supply that would hopefully bring down the demand, which would bring down the cost.
You would think, but the
I
demand.
know
for-
that's not been the trend in
Yeah.
Shelton, but
Yeah,
I
yep,
think at some point it has to break.
a
And
little
I think
bit.
everything is cyclical, so.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think at some point in time, we may want to look at multifamily densities that we would permit without having the developer look at it from a planned development point of view where it's an open door.
Mhm.
If we say, that multifamily developments are restricted to this particular density, then the developer can work out his project on that basis, but we can then offer a bonus, which would give him more units if he in turn sets aside units.
That's kind of why this top chart.
Yeah, and
I
that
would
would
encourage-
offset any losses. There would be no apparent losses.
If anyone would like an Excel sheet, I'm happy to send it to them. If
Yep,
you
and-
want to,
Parking issue, if you increase the density beyond what the lot will carry, maybe we'd have to go up. I don't know.
So Alex, do we get the same credit whether it's at 80% or 60%? Do we get the same
No.
credit?
we get
Huh?
more credit for the 60% unit.
We get more credit?
Correct.
All right,
How
any
much-
other
how
further
much more?
questions?
How much more?
Let me see. I think it should be in here, my score sheet here.
60 to 80, so it's a half a unit.
So you get an extra half point.
Okay.
And then if it's at, I don't know if this 40% is still in play. Do you know, Jimmy? I think,
How many points do we need?
That's not 30. I thought.
I think they've reduced this 40. I think they removed this. I'm pretty sure it's just 60.
Okay.
80%. Charlie, you had a question. How many
points do we need? Yeah,
We are at,
yeah, I saw that.
correct.
But it's hard without knowing all the units that are out there that we maybe be able to get credit for, not.
Yeah, right.
So
But based
until we
upon
have
what we
that,
have, which is 494,
right,
we're deficient 1,121 units,
That's to qualify for the 10%.
the 10%. But if we
Right.
attack at least 1% of that a year, right?
Correct.
That gets us out from the 8-30G mandate.
so we
But
just
isn't
need
there a moving
323
parts?
more points to get to be able to put in a 1 to 4 year moratorium in place?
Yes.
Well, that's accumulation. That's, is that extra that we need, or is that
Yes.
total?
That's what we need to accumulate of HUEPs, or 2% of the housing census data, blah, blah, blah,
Okay,
to
Mhm.
qualify for a 1 to 4 year moratorium.
yeah, but what does that mean, 1 to 4 years? Is it 1, is it 2, or is it?
We have to go before a judge and ask for a moratorium.
Oh, okay,
But so let's say, you know, say 2, that's a number, that's 150 units. More than that. A little more,
Yeah, right.
160, 160.
yeah, 160, yeah.
But isn't
So-
there, that's a moving target that as we add,
Correct, because there's a numerator and a denominator. So for
Yeah, so
every-
as we add, our point system has to go up. The
Correct.
amount of affordable units have to go up as we add
Right.
the amount of units.
Which is why we really need to consider going up. Would you go back to that D, please? You know, which was why my recommendation, I think the 12% is too low. My guideline would be 15% set aside for 40 or less and 20% set aside for 40 or more. And if we want to have something over 100, then it can be 25%. You know, maybe we can play with the 80-60 a little
Yeah, we
bit.
have to play with a chart to make sure that, you know, we're getting our fair deal. On
Could
the
you repeat that
amount of,
again, Ruth?
What's that?
Anything? Could you repeat? You had said anything?
Sure, it's 15 set aside for 40 or less and 20% for 41 or more. So 15 for 40 or less. That would be at 15%. And then over 40, 41, say up to 100 would be 20%.
99,
Yeah, 99.
and then 100 plus 20. Okay. All right, so are there any other comments in this particular section D?
And again, we could play with the 80-60. You know, I mean, we don't want to shut developers out, but like I said before, you know, they're getting a good tax incentive, which is why they're all interested in building here.
Yep. So just quickly, the last comment I'll have is the reason why I put the lower percentage for the smaller units is to hopefully incentivize in an upper graph, maybe you guys have read, I talked about middle housing, which you'll read through, but this 5 to 20 bracket, we don't have much of. We have a lot of single family, and we're seeing a big rise in the mid-rise development. That's the projects downtown, the projects on River Road, the projects on Bridgeport Avenue. You know, they're 4 stories, 5 stories, 3.5 stories, you know, 30, 40, 50 units. We don't have a lot in this kind of category here. And because of the markets of scale, it's a lot harder for these size developments to offset the cost
Right.
of, you know, you can see here, if you're only doing 5 units, which could be a really nice little complex, that change in revenue is 12%.
Right.
But
Got it. All right. So we'd have to look at something that's, you know, maybe something up to, you know, I don't know, 10, 12 units. You know, duplexes are good too. If we're expanding that area downtown, you know, that it could be duplexes. You could have a 4-family house, right? Two and two.
Yep.
So yeah, we can talk about that further. What is I know the chairwoman wants to kind of wrap this conversation up. What is the process? Does this need to go before a public hearing?
Uh,
It's,
I will check on that to confirm. I thought we had a conversation with it and I thought it was something that we would be posting on city's website. But I will confirm with Corporation Counsel and talk to staff as to whether or not there was any information provided by the state. Ms. Mazzano is still here. If she has any input about that, she could certainly share that with staff at the appropriate time. Okay.
Hi, good evening. Our reading of the statute, we believe it said may, that it wasn't mandatory, it wasn't required that it go to a public hearing, but that the city may send it for public comment and hearing. But we'll verify that with Corporation Counsel.
Okay.
So would it be us that would send it, or would it be the Board of Aldermen? Because they have to approve this, I understand. Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
they do.
So maybe they would set the public hearing on it for comment.
Would that make sense though? Because if there are any changes, shouldn't it come from the Planning and Zoning Commission first?
No, come from them to us. Right? And then we can make those
Maybe.
changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saying that they have to approve it.
Yeah, just a thought.
I'm guessing the point of a public hearing would be more informational, just to give the public the courtesy of understanding this better and not really getting an approval or disapproval kind of.
No, it's for
Right.
information only.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. All right, so then we'll pick up with the rest of this, and if you have any particular comments or thoughts about this, what we have already gone through after the fact, please make sure you jot those down so that we can include those.
I'd like to comment. I think Alex has done a great job on this. So very well written, very well organized.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
Quite
for
an
sure.
undertaking.
A lot of information for sure.
Yes, and he was able to reach out to SCDC and other people in City Hall and get their material, but to compile this was quite an undertaking. So hopefully now we see the light at the end of the tunnel, getting this done.
Yes.
Okay.
When was it? When did Kelly say it was due?
Last
May? It's not due yesterday. I know other towns are still working on theirs. I think Milford just finished theirs actually, so.
Yes, it was actually due for the first, this state had recommended be due by last July 1st.
Oh,
But they had granted extensions, and as you are correct, that there are towns that are still working on theirs.
okay. Okay.
And
So
it's
the
up to
sooner
each
the better.
town.
Yeah,
It's late,
exactly.
but sooner the better.
Yes.
And it's up to each town to format the content. So it wasn't like there was a template issued by the state to say, here are the questions, answer these.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right, so we'll pick this up at a next meeting. So then now we're up to other business item D, and we are getting to the 9 o'clock hour. But remarks by the Planning and Zoning Commission Special Recreational Cannabis Subcommittee regarding the citywide one-year moratorium that is effective right now since last April 1st, but it will expire March 31st, 2023. And that moratorium was on the acceptance of applications, the use of land, built structures, or related activity to a cannabis establishment. So we need to do a review. I understand that the subcommittee did meet. Is there a particular recommendation that the subcommittee came up with as to what to do about the expiration of the moratorium?
Well, all right, I'll try to summarize, and Ruth, you can along. I didn't take very good notes on this. We kind of concluded that we needed input from the whole commission as to whether we should really proceed with any particular recommendations in terms of, zoning, if the commission is not interested in having this kind of business in town, for example, because it's very complicated there's the selling establishments and then there's the growing establishments, which would be an industrial use, probably like an industrial kind of enterprise. So, and there's a lot to consider about where these should be located if you're going to have retail, whether you want it downtown or not downtown, or in the shopping plazas or near the highway, or all of that. So before getting bogged down in that, we thought we'd want to know, it's possible that we'd want to just say we don't want to have any marijuana in town, or that.
Don't you need permission from the state, or was it was like a lottery to get some sort of?
You have to have a license.
Yeah, and they've given out those, but this is a kind of a moving target right now because the state's learning a lot. It's a new process. The state's learning a lot. Just by reading what's going on, this commission can learn a lot from what other towns are experiencing, and they're experiencing very similar things. So I think the state is realizing that their intent to have people that were harmed by arrests back when are really not benefiting from this at this point. So, there may be some changes there. But in terms of the licensing, they did find that, there was people that, or organizations that, they kind of latch on to somebody who maybe had been arrested that qualifies. And then they just submitted like 500 applications because there was no limit to the amount of applications. So by inundating them with applications, they were almost guaranteed to get one or two. The thing is, once they get that application, once they get approval to open a dispensary, they can put it anywhere, right? I don't think that they're not getting permission to put it here or put it there. So they're going to go to the towns that are allowing it by regulations where, so Bridgeport's already regulated it, I believe. If you look at their zoning regs, they kind of treat it like liquor stores.
Yeah, they did.
Has to be so far away from a school, so far. So there's a lot of things that we would have to talk about in terms of where it would be regulated and what regulations would be around it. But as Elaine said, when we started talking, we definitely know that we need more time to discuss this. Mm-hmm. And so rather than just getting into start making regulations, we thought it would be best to just kind of get a consensus. Is this commission interested in moving forward, or are we going to go through all of this and people are going to say, no, I'm not interested in having it in town? So, I mean, if there's an open-mindedness from all the commissioners, then yeah, let's pursue this road. But at the minimum, I think we also have to hear from the public. We did not hear from the public when we first started this moratorium. And I think now that it's a reality, that it's happened, that there's licenses being given out, I think it's important to hear how the public is going to react. Obviously, there was somebody here online tonight that wanted to speak on behalf of it. So I think it would be interesting to get the public perspective of the residents to see, what they're thinking too. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is like a liquor store, right? And it's a very highly regulated. I don't know that we would want to give up any industrial area for growing. And so that would be another, discussion to have. I think our regulations already prohibit that. So I think we would have to, I'm not sure, we'd have to consult with Tony on that.
I think you're right. The commission needs to decide what its posture is.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we went through when we were dealing with adult recreation. And we tied it up 6 ways to Sunday and narrowed it down so that there was only 1 or 2 sites in the entire city that you could have it.
Right. And that's, we can do that as well. But, again, if the majority of commissioners are not in favor of moving forward with it, we need to know that as well.
Mm-hmm. So Ruth, I think in terms of a public hearing, I think we'd have to be at a point where we have something concrete to offer than rather than all.
Mm-hmm. No, I think just extending the moratorium would be enough because we'd need another public hearing to extend the moratorium. So we may get a flavor at that point for what the public perception is on it. I mean, I hear both sides out there, like, why wouldn't you want to, with the revenue? Well, you know what? We've got a lot of revenue coming in. We're a desired town. So you can bet that if we allow it, there's going to definitely be somebody that's going to come here and put in a shop.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just look at, I never made the connection before, but why do you think we have all these smoke shops all of a sudden, right? They're selling all of this equipment they're not selling, or in some cases, they may be selling the CBD under the table or whatever, but that's a whole nother issue. But they're selling all the equipment to smoke this stuff. So that's why all of a sudden they're starting to pop up all over.
Mhm.
I imagine, I don't have any fact base, but I would assume that that's why.
That's
Because
a
these
fact.
dispensaries don't sell that equipment. They can only sell the pot. You go in there, the cannabis, you go in there, it's very controlled. You can't even open the bag. You order it, it's given to you in a bag. You cannot even open the bag in the store. You need to leave the store to be able to open it. So it's very, very regulated.
Mhm.
But I think the moratorium, if we extend the moratorium, if there's interest to extend it, to continue the discussion, then we extend the moratorium, but we have to have a public hearing to do that. And I think at that point, we may get members of the public that will come out and speak. I hope.
Mhm.
Would you like a minute summary on the surrounding towns?
Sure.
What would that be, Mr. Rossetti?
A minute summary of the surrounding towns.
Yeah,
To
that would
what
be good.
they're,
What they're doing.
stage they're in?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, very quickly, you guys know 3% sales tax on top of the state's 6.3% sales tax that goes to a select variety of municipal uses. Of the surrounding towns, Trumbull has a moratorium, Stratford has approved regulations, Milford has approved regulations. Newtown has prohibited it, Orange has a moratorium, and Ansonia has approved it. So I got 3 moratorium / prohibited and 3 approved. So 50-50 split.
Mhm.
In general, the ones that have approved the retail component of cannabis dispensaries all have language of something to the effect of shall not be within 300 feet of a school or parish or residential zone. They shall not be within 300 or 400 feet of a recreational area, playground, or
Mhm.
within a certain proximity of another cannabis establishment. Some of them asked for site plan approval, some of them asked for special exception permits. But they all generally followed the same format. They don't want a tremendous amount of them, so they limited the commercial zoning to be only a few, and that they have to be so far away from certain other kind of common sense things, and that they don't want them stacked up next to each other.
Mhm. Okay.
And Alex, the moratorium that you mentioned, that's not a forever moratorium, so that's
Correct.
a category of its own, really. It's not
Yeah.
really, I would put that in a category where these towns have yet to really decide where they go in the future.
You have to make a decision one way or the other sooner or later.
Right.
So
And that's where we are.
3 that have,
Right.
3 that have approved, 3 that have either not, or, yeah, you're right.
The 3 that have approved, are they over 50 population, 50,000 population? Because over 50,000 people, you have to have a designated smoking area for them.
Stratford is, you said Stratford, right, Alex?
Yes, yes.
And Milford as well, right?
And Sonia.
Milford did designate a
I don't
smoking
think
area.
Ansonia is 50,000.
What's a designated smoking area? Like,
Like there has to be a park or something that, you can only smoke in, there has to be an area where people can legally smoke outdoors.
that's funny.
Mhm. Yeah, Milford did it somewhere along the Boston Post Road,
Yeah.
somewhere by the Connecticut Post Mall down towards the.
Then they get in their cars and drive away.
That's hysterical.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
50,000 more people, you have to allow a place for them to smoke. I mean, you can smoke in your home, that's legal, but
yeah, this is
otherwise
out
it's
in
the
public.
same as regular smoking. You can't smoke in stores, you can't smoke in movie theaters, you can't smoke in bars.
Has
So
any of them approved for growing?
Say that again?
Is there an approval on any of the towns for growing?
Not
Bridgeport?
in
Did
my brief,
Bridgeport?
in my brief research, I did not see any that talked a tremendous amount about, they're called cultivators. There was some language in Ansonia about cultivators. The types of permits that you can apply for are producer, dispensary facility, micro cultivator, retailer, cultivator, hybrid retailer, food and beverage manufacturer, transporter, and product packager. So there is a rainbow of uses here.
And we
but
just haven't had the time to really put into this because we've been so busy
Do
with
you, do
other.
you get a license for each one of those categories?
I don't know.
Okay,
So-
This is Commissioner Laskos. Yes, there are licenses available for each one of those categories. And I see the state was making a pretty good revenue stream on these, as Commissioner Parkins mentioned. Some of these people that grouped together put in hundreds
thousands
of
of dollars.
applications at whatever the application fee was.
$1 million
So,
per dispensary.
Yeah. And just to follow with Commissioner Parkins, I missed the subcommittee meeting, but I do think we should explore this further. I'm in favor of exploring it further.
Exploring the retail use of it in Shelton?
Yes.
But I guess we kind of think we need to extend the moratorium in order to do that.
Right,
And
well, we'd have to, because wed have to start establishing regulations.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway.
You're coming to
we're
the
on top of
deadline.
our moratorium ending, so.
All right, so is the consensus then, based on what the conversation has just been, that we look into extending, or we propose extending the moratorium for what time period? Another year?
I would say a year. We probably won't need a year, but
Mm-hmm,
just to be on the safe side,
mm-hmm.
you know, let's get this affordable housing off the table first.
Right,
Let's deal with all these apartment projects are going to be stacking up on us. And in the meantime, you know, if all the commissioners are willing to move forward with, you know, with developing regulations, then, you know, we can go down that path as well.
All right,
I'm in favor. I'm neutral. You know, I can, there's pros and cons.
This
We're-
commission, I'm absolutely in favor and very open-minded. I would love to hear from the public, but I'm very open-minded to having the dispensaries in Shelton, and like every other town that has approved this, and like every other mechanism where we regulate businesses in Shelton, we would make sure that it's well regulated in certain parts of the city, like many other towns that we just referenced, within certain areas, setbacks, being mindful of what's around it. And we could set all of that into the regulations so that it's a very particular place where you might find that dispensary in Shelton. So I'm very open to that.
okay. And in the general scheme of things, I don't think that this is a good use for retail. I think in commercial space in town, I think we have better proposals that have come before us than we could expect to do so in the future. So, but so is there someone that would like to make a motion to extend the public hearing for a 1-year period with in the same manner on the acceptance of applications, the use of land, a built structure, or related activity to a cannabis establishment, and set a public hearing?
Could we just ask Commissioner Kelly not to put you on the spot where you may stand on this issue?
I'm neutral, one way or the other.
All right, so I think it's worth moving forward. I will make a motion to extend the moratorium.
Mhm.
Can we legally go another year? Is there's no problem with that?
I don't see why not.
Really?
I don't think there's a time frame. This is something that we can deny. So it's certainly, I don't think there's any time frame to it.
May I
Mhm.
just ask a clarifying question before we make that motion, Commissioner? So we're making a motion and then we're having a public hearing?
We have to make a motion to extend public hearing, which will
Oh, extend the public hearing.
extend,
The motion to have a public hearing to
I
consider.
mean, extend the moratorium, which
To have a
initiates a public hearing.
Yes, that's right. Okay, thank you.
I believe that's correct. And again, Kelly Vidano, our expert on legal matters, may be able to,
You are correct, Ruth.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, because what we're doing is changing the zoning regulation.
Right, so right now, we're just making a motion to extend the moratorium an additional year. Again, it'll be shorter if we can
Mhm.
get it accomplished, but, and then to set a public hearing.
Okay. Is there a second on that motion from Commissioner Parkins?
I'll second it, Commissioner Kelly.
Okay. All right, so on the motion made by Commissioner Parkins, seconded by Commissioner Kelly, I'll do a roll call. Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
I'm
Commissioner Lascos,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Mr. Rossetti, looking at the calendar, looking at in March for a public hearing. We have,
We need to be able to close the public hearing and then, right? We need to open the public hearing,
Mhm.
close the public hearing, and then vote.
Yeah, so our meetings in March are the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. And it expires on the 31st.
So 15th.
So we will set the public hearing on March 15th. Okay. All right, moving on, just so if everybody can hang in there, because we do have some important things to coming up. On the comments from the chair, the meeting, our next meeting on the 15th, staff informed me that they have a conflict with being available for that night. So I needed to check with the commission as to whether or not anyone would be available on the following evening, the 16th, rather than cancel it altogether. Because on the 22nd, we are going to be convening at the intermediate school for the application having to do with 2 Mohawk Drive. And so rather than take all those items that we thought we would be doing it on the 15th, would commissioners be available on Thursday, the 16th?
I'm available.
Okay.
I am too.
Ruth, Commissioner Parkins, Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, I could. Wait a minute. What is that, Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine for me as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Commissioner Tiki, you said, oh, yes?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Lascos,
Okay.
you're good too?
Mm.
All right, so, and the last one, who am I missing here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh,
Yourself.
yeah, no, I have me. Who am I missing? Elaine, Charlie,
Frank.
Frank. No, that's not the alternates, our regulars. Parkins, Kelly, Motto, Tiki, Lasco said yes. I just didn't write it down. Okay. And myself. So everyone is available. So please note in your calendars, our meeting that was scheduled for February 15th will be held instead on Thursday night, February 16th. Same
Is that
time.
a Zoom or?
It's the
Hybrid.
we have
Aye.
the City Hall
Aye.
auditorium as a hybrid.
Either or?
Yeah, it's an either or. Mr.
Okay.
Rossetti?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's the night that we'll do the public hearing? I mean,
Yes.
the public hearing for the cannabis.
Yep.
No.
No,
No, that's in March.
Oh, sorry. No. That's March.
Oh, that's March.
March.
That's
March
March.
15th. This is
Yeah.
just changing of the date for our
All
regular.
right, okay, you're
special
right.
meeting.
My
Special
bad.
meeting on Wednesday night, February 15th will be held on Thursday, February 16th.
I think we're all getting a little tired.
I know.
Yes,
Oh my.
exactly.
All right, so, and the other thing is under chair comments, I'd like to request that the zoning enforcement officer come before the commission and present a report on all the kinds of things that he's been doing since he came on board last summer. And rather than it just be something that he presents on paper. But so if he could do that, the first meeting of March, which would be March 8th. Okay, so staff can convey that
Sure.
to him.
Yep.
Thank you very much. All right, that's all I have. Any subcommittee chair comments? Commissioner Amato, Commissioner Kelly?
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Um,
Any comments from the staff? Mr. Rossetti?
I just have one comment, if I can jump in. I'm sorry, Alex, I don't mean to speak over. I just want, can I circle back to 1 second regarding the public hearing regarding the affordable housing?
Sure.
I think I misunderstood. We have the option to provide for the public informational session
Mhm.
or public information, but a public hearing, I believe, needs to be had prior to the adoption of the plan, but the plan needs to be presented in the final format.
Right. Okay, but that's after, before it goes to the Board of Aldermen. This is a planning and zoning public hearing.
That I need to get, that's the part I need to get clarification on as to who's going to set that
Okay.
hearing.
All right, please do so.
But it has to be prior to the final adoption.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So that's what I'll get back to the commission on with the specific information regarding that. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Mrs. Lozano. All right, so we are up to as staff comments. So Mr. Rossetti, any comments?
Just a reminder, as you already said, intermediate school, February 22nd.
Okay, and then Ms. Castro, any comments from yourself?
We are continuing the progress with OpenGov. We should be ready to roll sometime in May or June between all the third floor departments, the land use departments.
Mm-hmm.
Engineering and sewer are on their training session right now. And after that, we'll do another group training session and hopefully go live. I will, in the upcoming weeks, send you guys invitations to try to apply as a member of the public, so you could see how it works and make any comments on that, so we can do any tweaks prior to going full live.
Very good. That's quite an undertaking. Okay, Mr. Panico, do you have any comments?
Nothing else at this time.
Okay.
Can I just confirm that
Sure.
the 22nd hearing at the intermediate school, that's in person only, correct? There's
Both.
no Zoom.
There will be,
There will be
Will be
Zoom,
Zoom?
yes.
Okay.
but the commissioners should be present.
I would suggest, if at all possible, commissioners attend that meeting in person. If you feel that you can't, please just speak to me or staff privately.
I did make that a very specific request that I want Zoom and YouTube for
Mhm.
keep it as normal as possible. So
Right, okay.
No changes as far as our formats go.
It's just a matter of that, while we're used to having sitting wherever we are right now and having the capability of managing it on our own. I'm just a little concerned about whether or not it's going to work when we're in a location like
Well,
that.
we're bringing the owl with us, right?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of different equipment setup, that's for sure. So, but Mr. Rossetti is coordinating that with the school systems IT guy. All right, so no other staff comments. Yeah, Mr. Panico, I'm sorry. Did you have any comments?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right, so final agenda item are the approval of 3 meeting minutes. The first one is January 11th. Does anybody have any changes?
Jenny, could you excuse me for the balance of the meeting?
We certainly can.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Tony.
All right,
Bye-bye
Tony.
now.
Take care of Mr.
Yeah.
Panico. All right, any changes for the January 11th minutes?
Not for me.
All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve as submitted?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A
As
second,
And that's Commissioner Parkins seconding?
correct?
Okay, so on the motion made by Commissioner Amato, seconded by Commissioner Parkins, roll call, Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. Motion to approve the January 11th minutes passes by a vote of 6-0. Next are the January 18th minutes. Any changes for those particular minutes? I have none myself. Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the January 18th minutes as submitted?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Commissioner Motto. Is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Thank you. So on the motion made by Commissioner Motto, seconded by Commissioner Parkins to approve the January 18th minutes as submitted. Commissioner Laskos,
Aye.
Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelly,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
and chair votes aye. The motion is passed 6-0. And finally, any comments or changes for the January 25th meeting minutes?
Chairwoman, we do have a hand raised by Sarah.
Oh, okay, Mr. Rossetti. What's the,
Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, hello. To Ginny, to circle back about Alex with the affordable housing plan, you had mentioned about tabling it, but then there was no motion. So I just didn't know if you needed to make a motion.
Continuing it, right?
no, we're gonna continue, yeah,
The discussion.
this is discussion.
Okay, okay,
I think
Thank
we're,
you.
we're safe.
Yeah, we don't need a motion for that one,
No.
okay,
right.
thank you.
but thank you for asking.
asking, that's for sure. All right, so the January 25th minutes, any comments or changes? Okay, if not, is there a motion to approve as submitted?
I'll make the motion to approve as.
Mr. Kelly, is there a second?
Commissioner
Second.
Tiki, second.
Okay, so on the motion from Commissioner Kelly to approve the January 25th minutes with a second from Commissioner Tiki. I'll do a roll call for Commissioner Tiki,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
Commissioner Parkins.
I will abstain. I was not present.
Okay, Commissioner Kelly
Aye.
and Commissioner Laskos.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Motion to approve the January 25th minutes have passed with a vote of 5-0-1. All right, seeing that there's no other item on the agenda, the chair declares this evening's meeting is adjourned as of 9:24 p.m.
Late one.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation this evening. We'll see you next week.
Sleep well.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Long agenda.
Yeah.
Didn't even get through it.
Okay.